forever. So stop me or take my advice.
Now, from the Untold Radio Network, it's Untold Radio AM with Doug and Alex Hajicek.
Hey, Alex, how are you?
How's it going?
It's going. We had literally just cleaned up the mess from a big shoot we had going on in the house today.
That's exciting.
Big TV production. Yeah, it was kind of nuts. It was fun, though. It was funny. Your sister was here helping.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, and she even went and got everybody food.
Nice.
Went to Cane's Chicken. Did you ever eat Cane's Chicken?
Yeah, the cane sauce.
Yeah. So there were a couple people that never had it. They liked it.
Can you believe that?
Anyhow, yeah, I sent you a couple of pictures from our couple of shoot scenes in Messenger. If you want to throw them up, you can. Give people kind of a... we were shooting for Legend Meets Science too today.
Pull that up. Oh, that came in really small. Hold on just a second here.
Small? It's a huge picture. There you go. That's Todd Neese, by the way, from Oregon.
Cool.
I think we had Todd on our show once.
And that's Scott.
Yep, Scott. And then go to the next. I think there was another one I sent you.
Just see one in Messenger.
He goes, "Do you want me to put a blanket on the floor?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then he kept dropping junk all over the wood floor. So I'm like, "You like you put that blanket down?" Isn't there another one that came?
There's only one in Messenger, but it looks like
here it is.
posted.
I'll send it right now. No, I didn't send it yet. I didn't send it, but it's coming right now your way. Here we go. Done. Sent. Did you get it?
Just waiting for Facebook to do its thing.
Yeah, it takes time. But anyhow, so we did that all day, and then we have another shoot in the morning, really early. Crew call, I think it's 9, which is kind of early for Scott because he's got to drive 2 hours before he gets there.
So was that a lot of witness stories?
Yeah, witness stories today. Some, not all of them. Obviously, they're going to be on the dock, but we got some good ones, yeah. And then what we're going to talk about, Adam's going to be on a little while. Adam is the tech, one of the tech guys for Legend Meets Science too. And we've got a new exciting project that we're going to be deploying, I believe, this Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. And so people that are listening to this may end up with some maybe exclusive sneak peeks at what we're going to do, and they can watch some of the stuff live.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And I do want to give out shout out to Lori Barnes and Charlotte J. Who other members are in the chat right now? I think there'll be more soon. Oh, that's all that's in chat. I mean, there's a lot of people in chat, but that's the only 2 members in chat. So you guys are getting the shout out. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So me and Alex had a family reunion of sorts this weekend. Alex's oldest brother.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, and his son came out, and you guys went. Alex actually went on a kayak.
Yeah, I got a little bit of sun. Not that you can tell.
No, yeah. Did you wear anything? Sunblock or anything?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I would have turned into a piece of fried bacon.
So you did wear sunblock.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that crap. Don't like it. Okay, so, and then apparently, my new granddaughter listens to our podcast every night, and it puts her to sleep.
Oh, that's so cute.
She falls asleep every night to Grandpa's voice. Isn't that cool?
That's super
And Uncle
cool.
Alex.
Super cool.
Should I send you a picture of
Yeah.
her latest? She's getting chubby.
I got one picture. Is this the one you're talking about?
Yeah. So this is little Esme. This is my 5-month-old granddaughter, and she is so sweet, super smart. She now gives kisses, and she says, "Mom."
Oh.
So anyhow, gonna see her again tomorrow. So enough of that. Okay, so we have author Preston Dennett.
Yes.
And he's like not like an author. Did you see his wall of books?
He's like a super author.
Super author. I mean, his books are amazing. It isn't like, he just cranks out crap. I mean, his books are good. So he's a researcher, a MUFON researcher, an author, and just all around super nice guy. I love it because he's always available, He's always willing to come on. So we're going to talk all the latest stuff on UFOs, all the new inside information, kind of what's going on, because like I've said, you're not putting this genie back in the bottle. It's not happening.
No.
Oh my God. So one of the guys that was here in the shoot, Abe, he's already teasing me. I don't even know how he got home. He lives like 30 miles away, whatever. And the camera guy is watching us live as he drives home. He's listening to us.
Yeah.
As he's driving home. Okay.
Hope someone's driving the car, Abe.
Well, I did that too one time. I was gone. Remember, I couldn't make it. I actually watched you and Dean.
Yeah.
I mean, could watch you because I was a passenger.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Live.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
To see it
You
live.
could be in a car and watch somebody live.
It's
I mean,
it's
you can't even get regular TV in your car live. So it's pretty cool. All right, what else we've got? We've got Adam, our brilliant Legend Meets Science tech guy, is coming on here. He's already in the back room. And remember when we were talking about crocodiles and alligators, and you said, I asked you, like, what are the ways they walk? And one of the things you said was the stroll.
Yeah.
Remember? And every time I think about that, I crack up. So I was just reading the random news, and there was an article about how they can gallop.
They can gallop.
So there's another way, a fourth way they can walk.
See?
They literally documented crocodiles galloping like a horse.
That's when they're out strolling.
I mean, there's a huge delay. There we go. Move your lips. Talk.
Hello.
You're not moving your lips. I think we're both off sync. We're like a bad Bruce, what's his name? The karate guy? Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
We're like in a bad Bruce Lee movie.
Well, if you'd like, I can get Adam on and I can restart my computer.
I think we're going to both need to. I don't. Okay, so let's ask people who's out of sync. Both of us or just Alex? Just Alex. Just
Okay.
Alex.
So would you be against me having Adam on, and I'll be back here and
Yeah. And there he is.
hey,
Smiley Adam, the tech guy. So Adam Colt is our Legend Meets Science, one of our Legend Meets Science tech team, but he's amazing. And he has a new breakthrough that we're going to utilize in Legend Meets Science. And I don't know. Obviously, we don't want to give away the whole thing until after the movie, comes out, right?
Right.
Right, Adam?
Yeah.
We don't want to give away everything, but we want to give you enough information to get excited.
Yeah.
So what can we tell everybody just to get them really, really excited? One, I believe we are going to be deploying in an area where there's been recent amazing activity, including a guy getting clunked in the head.
Yeah, very recent.
Yeah, and I believe that was somebody in our chat.
Yeah.
And if he wants to say who he is, so it's somebody in our chat got clunked in the head with a rock this weekend in that that spot. So anyhow, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, no, I would love to get more details. Actually, you know what? Not knowing the details, going in, just knowing that it's a hotspot is probably the way I should go in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, thanks for finding that new hotspot for me. I'm gathering all my stuff right now. I've got 4.5, 5 pages of equipment that I'm packing up right now. Everything from tools to camping gear to lots of audio video equipment. So I feel like I need a couple Sherpas is what I really need.
You're going to, here's the thing. I asked, I think I asked Dave, I said, hey, do you want to go with these guys when they install this stuff? He didn't answer me one way or the other. So I said, yeah, you kind of get the deal. It'll probably be like, 5 days of slugging through mosquito infested brush.
Exactly.
He knows the deal.
So yeah, a lot of equipment, a lot of setup, and a lot of cameras. That's the cool new thing. A lot of cameras.
Yeah. So okay. So let me give kind of something. You can expound on it, but we're going to be putting up to 20 live. That's the keyword, live. Artificial intelligence cameras that, for instance, can tell the difference between a coyote and a deer, or a coyote and a Bigfoot, and will then notify such people as have passwords to the sighting. But it doesn't need to be anything special to record it. They're recording 24/7, correct, Adam?
Yeah, the cameras themselves will either record continuously or record events, depending on how we set it up to save memory. But they will be not only recording locally, but they'll be recording to the cloud, and not only recording to the cloud AI, but they'll be streaming live as well. So it's a really big, complicated system.
So I was wondering if we should, and we haven't talked, this is you're hearing this live. This is a live Legend Meets Science meeting right here.
Yep.
If we shouldn't share one camera to raise awareness.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
So we're willing to share one camera in the forest where there's been numerous sightings just in the last 4 days.
Yeah.
And not only that, an attack on somebody.
Yeah. So
like a knock to the ground.
Yeah. The first thing Doug says to me is like, they might be hostile in that area. Exactly. And I'm like, thanks for that. I'm going to be out there alone and with a bunch of hostile, creatures.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know, I'll bring my guitar. Maybe I'll sue them.
Yeah. So are we in sync, Alex?
That's funny.
All yes, right. We're in perfect sync.
We're good. We're good. Yeah. Good.
It was funny. There was like it was like a 10-second delay.
It was, yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
All right. Well, I know you guys got a big show tonight with
No, you can hang out. You can hang out for a while. I want to talk a little more. Are you planning on camping in this very unconventional way up there while you're working on this?
I am.
Okay, I got to try to talk you out of this.
What do you mean unconventional?
Oh, it's unconventional. Okay. Oh my God. Go ahead.
I will be bringing a regular tent with me.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But he's planning on bringing, and I am not joking, a full-size teepee. And a lot of people think teepees are small. No. This is what? How 30 feet in diameter?
20. And 20? I calculated the inside room to be 315 square feet inside the teepee.
Yeah. See, I've gone camping with Adam. Adam likes to be comfortable.
You don't.
He doesn't like camping. So Adam's the guy that walked away. Okay. I have to tell this story. I got to tell this story.
I don't know why you're telling this story.
So in the middle of the night, okay, I can't sleep. We're on a little Bigfoot expedition. I can't sleep. You get adrenaline flowing. Can't sleep. Finally fall asleep. I swear to God, it's 10 minutes after I fall asleep, he's waking me up again. Doug. Yeah, Doug. Get up. There's something going on outside. Okay, so I get up. What's going on? Come out in the tent. So I get out there, and here's Adam, and he's like, look at the sky. And the sky was weird. I've never seen anything like what we saw that night. There were just like, I don't even know if there's hundreds, 20, dozen, 10 dozen, 1 dozen lights just going all over.
Yeah.
And it were even lighting up the trees, which was what was really weird.
Yeah.
Okay, but then here's where it gets weird. He just suddenly starts walking off in his underwear into the forest. And I'm watching this in shock, thinking, what the hell is this guy thinking? He's going to be a missing 411 victim, and he's going to find him in his underwear, like our missing 411 demo we did that one time, where the guy's found, nude or naked in his underwear. Okay, and he just keeps walking.
No shoes.
I'm like yelling, no shoes, this is whitey tighties. And he's just disappearing into the forest, and I swear to God, you were under a spell that night. But it was weird. Yeah, and the other weird thing is, I don't even remember even going back to bed.
I don't either. That was weird.
I don't have no memory of even going back to bed. Just I remember waking up in the morning.
Strange night.
And Adam, you did say every time I go with you, Doug, something weird happens.
Every time.
You did say that.
You are a weird magnet, is what I call you.
Weird magnet. Okay.
Weird
That's
magnet.
good to know. Could be.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I won't fight that description. So, Adam, are you still planning? You're going to leave Saturday morning?
That's the plan.
Or are you going to leave Friday night?
No, I don't get the ATV till Friday. So.
Okay. So yeah, hit a rent ATV. It'll get you into a pretty good distance.
Yeah.
But this is not the area where we talked about the sebum boards, the blue sebum boards that were ripped from trees. That was in a different area, and those boards were a mile apart. But all four were torn from the trees and turned up missing, which is weird. We didn't recover any of them.
Super weird.
Yeah. So hopefully, we'll still try to search for them, but we haven't recovered anything. We need them because they should have fingerprints on them. Something very powerful ripped those off trees. Think about it. 10 feet up in the air in the middle of the forest.
Yeah. We were talking
off
about
trail. Like, no.
No one brings a ladder out to go take a sebum board off the tree.
No, nobody. Oh, by the way, I was going to also say, Abe, I think, is in the audience. He was the only person ever in my whole life that borrowed something from me and brought it back. Borrowed my ladder and brought it back.
Oh,
that's never happened in my whole life. Because usually you got to go knock on their door a year later. Could I get my battery charger back? I need it. Or it's just you don't ever see it again, or you forget you even gave it to them, or whatever. Yeah. But Adam, he brought it back. Abe brought it back. Honest Abe. Yep. Alex has got his donut alarm going. It's donut time.
Donut time.
That's an alarm clock, Alex.
Yeah.
Why do you have an alarm clock going off?
That's the remind Doug alarm.
Yeah, but it's 7:22. Why would you remind me at 7:22?
Yeah.
Or was it on snooze? If you keep hitting the snooze.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
Snooze. It's off now.
I'm just wondering. Okay, I want to do some trivia with you and Adam.
Okay.
Before we bring Preston Dennett on. Preston is coming on. He's a major UFO guy. But, okay. So what flower was more valuable than gold in the 1600s?
Tulip.
What flower was more valuable than gold?
Saffron from.
Okay, it's a really good guess because that was a very expensive spice. That's from the stamen of the middle of the saffron flower.
Is it like
those? That's amazing.
Crocus stativus?
What did you just say? He's Googling. He's cheating. Oh my God, you're cheating.
Minus one for cheating.
It was the common tulip.
It was the common tulip.
The common tulip was worth more money than gold. And why were they, so expensive? Because they were just so rare back then.
Yeah.
It was like a new species. They were super rare. Only the very extreme rich. One tulip would cost you what a house would cost you back in those days. Okay.
There is a tulip festival in Iowa that's got hundreds of thousands of tulips.
Yeah, right. Obviously, now you can get them at Walmart. Yeah. $5 for a buck. Okay.
Not too hard to drive down there if you love tulips.
All right. So here's a great trivia question for you too.
Okay.
At what time were shoes sometimes 2 feet long? A lot of people's in fashion. People wear shoes 2 feet long. Can't Google. Nobody can Google. This is Untold Nuggets.
You want a time frame?
It's the time frame. Yeah, some reference.
The Renaissance.
I was going to say
Okay, that's a good guess, Alex.
Or Middle Ages.
Middle Ages. Okay, so let me explain this. It was during medieval times.
Okay.
Some shoes were designs prioritize style over comfort. Okay, let's hang on a second here. My thing's cutting off now. My computer's going wacky, and I gotta open it up. This is, oh my God, I really gotta open this up. Oh, this is nuts. You remember what my computer was doing with my emails, Alex?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah, it's even worse now. Okay, so staying on here. I'll get to it. Okay, they prioritize style over comfort. And during the late 14th century, early 15th century, shoes often were 2 feet long. According to the Victoria and Albert Museum, the toes of the shoes were filled with hair, wool, moss, or grass. Okay?
Wow.
All right. All right. Now, before Lincoln was president, what was he known for? President Lincoln, Abe Lincoln. Since we're talking about Abe's.
Wasn't he a lawyer?
Okay, that's Alex's guess. Come on.
His top hat.
No, he was literally a national. He actually was in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's right.
He was a championship wrestler.
What?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he had over 300 matches to his name. Lincoln only lost once.
Wow.
300 matches, he lost once. And they think maybe it was due to his height, but he wasn't really that tall. What was he, 6'4"? I mean,
Well,
that's not that tall.
Yeah. Very tall.
Yeah, it really isn't. Anyhow, there you go. It's an untold nugget, right?
There you go.
That's a nugget, man. All right. What increases testosterone levels in males? What's one of the biggest things that makes people and in females, actually in females too. What's the one thing that increases? Alex is Googling. I know he is.
No.
White
No.
There he is. I can tell he's cheating. It's the sun. Nobody's got an answer. It's the sun.
It's the sun.
UV radiation. It makes women and men far more romantic.
Is it the vitamin D?
It's no, it's the actual ultraviolet radiation. Increases testosterone levels in males and females.
Mm-hmm.
It plays a major role in there goes my thing again. Alex is in need here of fixing me up because I can't live with 5-foot long emails. In the role of both behavioral stuff and hormonal regulation, sexuality. So it becomes a kind of a turn on. So if you want to have more fun with your whoever, get out in the sun. Okay.
Take a trip to Florida.
All right. What animal? It's considered. I guess you consider it a fish. It's not really a fish, but it's immortal. Considered completely immortal. It's
Jellyfish.
one type. Who said that?
At me, jellyfish.
How did you know that? That's right.
I've heard that fact before, and I just was able to recall it.
Okay.
He's a Renaissance man.
So there's, it's generally one type of jellyfish. I'm not even going to begin to pronounce the name. Responds to potentially dangerous conditions by reverting back to an earlier version, basically, of itself.
Wow.
Isn't that cool? And its growth
Super cool.
process starts all over again. So you come up to the yellow jellyfish and you go, boo! And it starts rebuilding its whole body from the backwards.
I think they were looking at jellyfish for finding the fountain of youth gene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool. All right. So what sound effect was used on the Star Trek door closing? There was a sound effect. This one you guys should get. Come on. There was something they used for the sound effect of the Star Trek doors closing. Come on, almost out of
Mop
time.
cleaning a toilet.
Huh?
Mop cleaning a toilet.
You're close. It was flushing the toilet. Toilet flushing.
It was flushing the toilet. I was in the general vicinity.
You were in the general facility. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
You did it this time, Adam.
I should have known that one. Yep.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
What's the deal?
Yep. I kept thinking like wood on wood, something sliding, but
Yeah.
What? Okay. So what was the earliest that there were woolly mammoths? What was the earliest? Jim, give me a year.
Didn't they go extinct with that in 13,000 years ago? So
No, they didn't.
So I'd say minus 2,000 plus, so 1100 BC.
Okay, Alex, what's your guess?
3000 BC.
Ooh, Alex is the winner. It was 2560 BC because supposedly the last woolly mammoth disappeared, and literally it was about the time they were building the Great Pyramids.
Lucky guess.
So when they were building the pyramids, mammoths were walking around. Cool.
That's insane. While they were building the pyramids.
Okay, how can you figure the color of a chicken's egg? How can you predict what color a chicken egg is going to be? How can you predict it?
By what you feed it.
Alex?
Oh, that's a good one. By what you feed it.
Are you going to copy Adam?
No, the color of the mama chicken.
The color of the chicken's earlobes.
What?
It's true. They have their earlobes. So brown eggs come from chickens with brown earlobes.
Oh.
That's it. And they literally, you can buy green eggs, pink eggs.
Is that another untold nugget?
It's an untold chicken nugget.
There you go.
Chicken nugget.
Untold chicken nugget. Okay. So bamboo is measured, its growth is measured in what unit? Bamboo is measured in what unit?
Centimeters.
Okay,
Inches.
Alex?
Inches.
Okay, but you're both wrong.
Meters.
But you said what, Alex? Or what did you say?
Inches.
And okay, what did you say?
Centimeters.
Okay, so Alex won because he's closer, but it was miles per hour.
It's miles per hour.
It's measured. Its growth is measured in miles per hour per day.
What are the
It
miles
goes
per hour?
okay. This is okay. Bamboo grows at a rate of 0.00002 miles per hour, which is up to 35 inches a day. By the way,
Wow.
that's a lot.
That is
It's a grass. Bamboo is a grass, and it grows really crazy. Okay.
all right. Good to know.
And it is in the world record books. It's the fastest growing plant. Okay. About you guys, I know you both know a lot about snails, right? Because you eat escargot all the time. Have you ever eaten escargot? I have.
I've never eaten it.
It's kind of weird. They give it in these little cups, and it's got a little garlic in there, and it's like real buttery. And I get it at the Lowell Inn when I'm craving it. At the Lowell Inn in Stillwater. Have you ever gone there and eaten?
Yeah, I actually have.
They have escargot there. It's really good, actually. But it's weird. It's like no other thing you could ever taste.
Yeah.
Anyhow, enough of that crap. But snails have one weird feature in their mouth. What is it?
Teeth.
Correct. He
They have
answered it
teeth?
first. They have tons of micro teeth.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And then they have a tongue and a jaw called a radula. And if you look up radula, it's basically a conveyor belt of teeth too in their mouth.
Wow. Everything
Like
I know
squid.
about snails.
Squid, Humboldt squid have radulas too in their mouth, behind their beak. As I remember. Okay.
Everything I know about snails.
All right. This is a really good one. This one's going to gross everybody out. A museum once displayed cheese, right? Made from a bacteria of what? A museum once displayed cheese made from a bacteria of what? I mean, why would you display cheese in a museum? They did, because it was made from a bacteria from something special. What was it?
Pimple.
Okay, that's Adam's guess.
Poo.
Poo. It was made from celebrities.
What?
They took bacteria from a number of celebrities and grew cheese with their bacteria.
Wow.
And then displayed their cheese.
Like, what are we talking?
That isn't the grossest freaking thing you've ever heard.
Is
And I guarantee no one's eating. Somebody's eating a grilled cheese right now, just going,
Is this a Jack Nicholson cheese? Is this Tom Cruise cheese?
what? Yeah. Okay. I'm not naming the celebrities. Speaking of really gross, the oldest bottle of wine, right?
Yeah.
Dates back to what? How many years? Just guess a year.
25 BC.
25 BC is Alex's guess. It's all right. That's not bad.
No, I think it's before that. I'm going to say 2000 BC.
It is 325 all the way to 359 AD after death.
Okay.
Oh.
So it's still, 300 that makes it what, 1600 years old.
So what? I was within
Still
1,000
quite
years.
old. How old is that? How
So-
old is that?
Yeah.
If it's 359 AD, that's 1600 years.
Yeah.
Do the math. I want to know.
It's a long time.
2023 minus 359 is how much? Yeah, 1650 basically years old.
Is that still drinkable?
Sure.
Like, would you drink?
No,
that?
actually, they don't know, because if you pop the cork, once it hits the air, it could be anything. It could be vinegar, it could be nasty, it could be whatever. You don't really know, but I'm sure somebody paid a lot of money for it. Okay, now, so I used to have King Louis, like scotch at my bar when I owned that bar. And that was really expensive. It was like, God, I don't know what it was, $250 a shot or $300 a shot. Once a year, I'd get the King Louis out, and we'd have 300 and 200-year-old bottle of.
Is it all gone, or you got some left?
Well, I sold my restaurant bar, so it's gone. It's probably at the new place. I was there today.
Wow.
The new owners probably have it. I doubt many people buy it.
Does it taste like $300?
It wasn't that good. No, it wasn't that good. But it's the fact that it's, it's this old stash they found, and it's very valuable. It's kind of fun. Okay. What is the longest anybody's ever walked in a single walk? How many miles?
6,000.
Okay, Alex. Initial, just
48,000.
14,000 miles. Took them 530 days. Walked all the way from Prudhoe Bay, Alaska, all the way to Ushuaia, Argentina in 2018. 58-year-old man. So you can wait about 20 years, Alex, 25 years. Then you can go on a walk. He walked the last 1,000 miles with crutches.
Wow.
Was he trying to beat a challenge? Like
He
like
wanted,
Guinness World Records?
it's the longest walk ever.
Was it a walk of shame?
No. So it would have been a pretty freaky walk. Can you imagine walking 14,000
The walk of shame.
Well, the guy's name is Holly. There's a guy. His name is Holly Harrison.
What was is he famous?
He is now.
He is now. We just
He-
made him
He
famous.
just made him famous.
We just-
So is he in Guinness then?
I would imagine if it's the longest walk, yeah. I don't know if it's certified. There's a lot of records that aren't in Guinness because they have to send their big
Yeah.
team.
If a guy finishes the last 1,000 miles on crutches, you gotta give it to him.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. Yeah. Anyhow, so now Doug's clips are going to be during the Preston Dennett interview.
Yes, I see that.
So
I'm
we're actually
excited.
we're going to do it a little differently.
Mixing
We're going
it
to do
up.
the real or fake with Preston on UFOs.
The expert.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got my opinion, but
You got the picture I sent you, right, of my UFO last 2 weeks ago?
yeah.
Oh, that was cool. So,
Like, can you talk about it? Can maybe you can send the picture to Alex?
Yeah. So,
And by the way, let us know when Preston gets in the back room, Alex.
right. Yeah, I'll see if
Okay.
I can find it here.
Sure.
But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot to tell. We were just having dinner outside on the patio in Colorado, and looked up, and there was a silver orb just hovering above the mountain. And we were able to get our cameras out. 4 of us took pictures of it. So
Wow.
I'll see if I can send that to Alex right now. Hold on a second. I gotta find it. I have a lot of pictures.
You're gonna email it to me? Adam?
Email or text?
Email would be great.
Okay, got it. I'll email that to you.
Nothing like a well-planned show.
Exactly. I found it.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna text it to you first, and then I'll copy them and send.
See,
them.
normally I would do all sorts of. I send a lot of personal invites to people. I do a lot of things, but I didn't have 1 second today.
Yeah, well,
You know, when you're directing a shoot and equipment, I was also shooting too, so it just gets complicated.
yes, it does.
Did you show those pictures, Alex? I don't remember.
From
You
the
didn't
shoot?
show the latest one I sent you. Throw it up.
I never got one. I just got the
I
one.
sent
that was
it.
sent.
Okay, I'm going to send it again. Once again, this is,
Technology for you.
yeah, that's kind of weird.
Live technology.
Here we go. Doing it again. It is amazing. Think in the old days,
Yep.
what you would have to do. You'd have to burn a DVD or a CD.
Yep.
And that's when the technology was getting good. Before that, you had to hand deliver it.
Exactly.
So,
All
okay, I
right,
sent it
Alex,
to
you should have one of them now.
Okay, I got.
So we'll throw the Legend Meets Science photo up first.
Okay, Doug goes first.
This is what we were doing all day. I always wonder what the neighbors think when they're blacking out windows around the house. And, you know, God knows what they're thinking. Because, you know, you just don't shoot. You have to control all the lighting. You know,
Well,
the
they do
lighting's
all
gotta
that.
be-
They do that in Beverly Hills all the time too.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, people know what it is going on there. But would you do it, you know, in a residential home? They're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And I have kind of a funny story. I rented my dad's house one time for a feature film,
Yeah.
big feature film with Karen Black, the actress Karen Black. And they wanted to, they sent their designer or decorator over to decorate the inside of the house. Now, remember, I hadn't even asked my dad if this was okay. He wasn't living in the house because he had built a new home down the road.
Yeah.
So it was vacant, right? But it was exactly what they were looking for to film this whole movie in. So what they do is the set decorator goes and takes spray paint and writes on the wall, "A woman died of boredom in this bedroom." It's for the movie. So my dad's driving by and he sees us in this window, this lit up, and the guy left the lights on, the painter left the lights on in the house. Oh, my dad was a little mad
Yeah,
because he was worried people would think that was true, you know, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did they repair the
so
damage
that's
or
Abe
not?
today. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the interviewees. All right, go ahead. I want to hear this UFO story.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we looked up and there was a silver orb just parked above the mountain for about 10 minutes, and then it just shot off.
Alex,
So
do you have any tools to get that blow? It's really interesting when you blow it up.
it's it didn't look like that live. It looked like a tilted silver saucer, standard saucer shape, but that does seem to appear to have a hole in the middle of it. But,
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
yeah, it's like that that UFO from the ranch. So
Yeah. Anyhow, all right. You got to prepare for this stuff.
I know, just
You didn't know.
2 weeks ago. Yeah. So I have a short video of it too, but it's not any better. So
Ah.
Interesting.
Not have a telephoto lens. Just standard iPhone.
Still very cool.
I'm still trying to figure out my email. It doesn't work. It's just like so goofy. All these weird settings came up. I have no idea what's going on with this dang email. I don't like it. So yeah, we're just, we've barely scratched the surface with LMS2. Still, kind of on target, maybe late fall, hoping. But all of these, so many scientific tests have to come in. Just think what might happen from the effort on Saturday.
Let's hope.
That's all we can do is hope. Yeah. One of these creatures are going to screw up eventually.
Yeah.
You just wonder, how could they avoid, that many 20 cameras that are all hidden tiny?
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense. You could always just blame it on the fact they weren't there.
I am planning on hollowing out some logs and turning off the IR on the cameras and just really hiding a few that are just almost undetectable.
Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. Okay. So what was bubble wrap originally invented for, guys?
Wallpaper.
You're right.
What? Wallpaper?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how close the original product was.
I mean, who could not resist popping your wallpaper then?
I know.
Exactly.
I know.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, glad they figured another use for it.
Yeah, you're not joking. You are not joking. So what time is it? And Preston should be here any second.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah, he just popped in.
Oh, he did. Cool.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay at him if you want.
Sure.
Or you can boogie out anytime you want. I don't care. If you've got questions for Preston, please bail in, man.
Oh yeah, UFOs are my jam.
Oh yeah, they are. Well, you just took a picture of one. Okay, let me introduce Preston formally a little better here. So Preston's been on our show numerous times, but it's been a while. Hang on here, I'm gonna open this up. This guy has done. I am looking at all the books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
28.
17, 18, Is it really 28? No, it's not. Is it?
On his
27.
bio. 20. Oh, is it 28? 29? 29 now?
Oh, okay.
30?
So
We're at 30. We're at 30 now.
Okay, so Preston, he began investigating UFOs in the paranormal in 1986.
Incredible.
So he's got to be, he was doing it about when I started doing TV work, about that same time. So when he discovered that his family, friends, and coworkers were having dramatic, unexplained encounters, he then started interviewing hundreds of witnesses and blah, blah, blah. Obviously one thing led to another. He became a UFO MUFON investigator. Obviously he did ghost hunting. I didn't know that about him. Became a paranormal researcher, authored 27 really amazing books, plus 100 articles. So anyhow, without any more, let's bring Preston on.
Okay, so we're just going to go to a quick break and have him on.
Yeah, I always forget. Yes.
This Week in Bigfoot, the only news show that scours the internet and the Bigfoot community to bring you the fastest half hour in the cryptid world. From researcher news,
honestly, I was surprised to see Ketchum still around,
to sighting reports and evidence claims.
We know nothing about its backstory. This footage would be very easy to hoax.
To the latest podcasts and Bigfoot live streams.
That's Bigfoot evidence.
Earlier in the podcast, I mentioned Bigfoot.
These things are clocking the mayor.
It has to do with Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and Wild Man.
Looks pretty sciencey to me.
And it's making headlines. MK Davis recently released his latest improvement right here. It seems to reason that one would get caught on a camera on This Week in Bigfoot. Coming up this Friday, The Hand is back. This time MK Davis is throwing his hat into the ring in the search for answers. And we've got the controversial Bigfoot researcher in studio to bring us up to speed. Mike Lucci takes a look at the life of Claudia Ackley as the Bigfoot community says goodbye to the dedicated researcher. Snowwalker continues his jab at Thinker Thunker, and the BC-19 expedition gets set to head into the wilds of Northern California. These stories and so much more this Friday night at 8 on the next This Week in Bigfoot, only on CARC Universal. Be there.
Are you ready to uncover the mysteries of Bigfoot? Join us for SquatchCon Idaho 2023. This year, we're bringing the magic directly to your screen, or join us in person. Witness the world premiere of the enhanced Paul Freeman Bigfoot footage. Doug Hajicek discovered a secret within this enhanced video you'll have to see to believe. Hear from an all-star panel of Bigfoot experts like Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum, Cliff Barackman, Brian King-Sharp, and Michael Freeman. But that's not all. Get exclusive online bonuses such as Bigfoot-themed wallpapers, a Bigfoot coloring book, an interactive Bigfoot quiz, Squatch Nut Field Guide, get a copy of the Freeman Bigfoot Files ebook, and more. Whether you attend in person or watch it live online, you'll be part of an unforgettable experience. Don't miss out on this unique opportunity. Secure your spot today. SquatchCon Idaho 2023. Step into the unknown.
Show your support for the Untold Radio Network family of shows and join in on the conversation by using super stickers and super chats on YouTube. Got a question you want answered? Ask it live via a super chat and get real-time responses from our shows, knowledgeable hosts, and guests. Help keep the Untold Radio Network shows running strong. We need your support. Send your super chats and stickers now.
Hey Untold Radio Network fans, want exclusive perks and to support our channel? Introducing our YouTube membership program with 3 amazing levels. Get loyalty badges that level up to different cryptids the longer you're a supporter. How cool is that? You'll also get access to custom Bigfoot emojis and priority in chat. Upgrade to Backstage Pass for exclusive wallpapers, photos, status updates, discounted books, and merchandise. Go all in with the producer level for everything mentioned plus member shoutouts. Ready for an enhanced experience? Join now, pick your membership level, and let's make this journey even more exciting together.
And we're back.
Preston, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. Sorry about all those commercials and all those
no
things,
worries.
but it saves us having to just talk about all that crap. So
I understand.
It's kind of nice. Yeah, it's kind of nice. Anyhow, so it's been a crazy month in ufology, correct? You know, with these whistleblowers coming forward. Tell us what's going on. What do you know?
Well, it's been a crazy couple of years, actually.
Yeah, I know. But
It started ramping up since the congressional hearings and the Tic Tac release and the Pentagon admissions and AARO, the AARO.
Yeah.
What does that stand for? The All Domain Anomaly Reconnaissance Office. So yeah, the David Grush interview I did watch.
have you talked to him yet? Are you going to be talking with him?
I don't know that I'm going to have an opportunity. I'm just a kind of a small fry in some of these circles.
Yeah.
I've talked to a number of whistleblowers personally. I've not talked to David Grush yet.
Okay.
The opportunity may come. I don't know, but I'm absolutely following his story because it is very interesting. Yeah. He is one of a very long line of whistleblowers, and what he's saying is by no means unique. So I'm kind of curious about why he in particular is getting quite a bit more attention than previous ones.
A couple of things. So first, tell the audience that aren't aware of what David told this reporter, I believe from some smaller news startup media companies where it was first announced. But go ahead and what did David tell the reporter?
Yeah, I mean, his story is pretty compelling in a lot of ways because he does have a resume that by all appearances seems to be absolutely legitimate. And what he is saying is that, yes, our government, or portions of it, I should say, are in possession of extraterrestrials, bodies, craft, full entire craft, not just little bits and pieces. And he hasn't seen them personally, but he says he's certainly talked to people who have. He was a bit coy on exactly what he saw, but he did see photographs, documents, and have talked to people who handled this material directly. And I think the reason why he's getting so much attention as opposed to people like, say Bob Lazar, who was one of the real pioneers of this, really sort of paved the way for Grush. And I think it's the climate, honestly, of the political arena and the fact that Pentagon has said that this is a real phenomenon. Flat out, UFOs are real.
Yeah.
So that, I think, is one of the main reasons why he's getting a lot of attention. But I think it's important to make a few distinctions. He is not getting on the mainstream news. Most of the big newspaper conglomerates are not covering his story. And this is not official disclosure by any means. This is another whistleblower. Our government, our sitting government, has not made a comment on his story.
Yeah, they haven't, but he has testified in front of Congress, as I understand, signed affidavits, I think dropped a lot more names, has kind of gone through in detail. And I believe a lot of it, the information that he told them was more top secret than he told the reporter, correct? There was more information.
Right. Yeah, he does say he's under an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, which is no surprise.
Right.
I think a lot of these people who are coming forward have this problem. And it's a real problem because there are a lot of people who are sitting on stories that they cannot talk about for fear of reprisals, which he says he's suffered. So he is not working there now. So this is also an important distinction.
Yeah. Do you think he's in danger, because he feels he is. His life is in danger.
I mean, I think it's entirely possible if he goes too far. But if he was truly spilling information that they did not want revealed, he would not be there right now. Because we do know that this can be very dangerous. And there are a number of whistleblowers who have basically been silenced in very brutal ways.
So here's one theory, that the people that hold the real secrets, the government's very, very much in compartments. Is it possible that the real people that know all the secrets have purposely put him forward to kind of get a little crack in the, to get some of this information out?
Yeah, I actually, I can only speculate because we don't know. But what we do know is that disclosure is very tightly controlled. And it looks to me like this is sanctioned, like that he's basically been told, this is what we want you to talk about. We want you to go forward. And when I say we, I'm not talking about, senators and congressmen and even the president, but rather the very highest levels of who's behind this cover-up, the military-industrial complex, perhaps officials at the Pentagon, the highest levels of the Navy, Air Force, Army, perhaps, people that we are not elected leaders by any means.
Yeah.
People behind the cover-up. Because it does seem his statements are very carefully rehearsed, which I can understand. I mean, you could read that either way. But I do suspect that there's a level of that, this is what we want you to say.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is guys like you, I mean, even myself, we all knew this stuff to a point. We all knew, I always believed in Roswell. I got to talk to Jesse Marcel Jr. myself once.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And you all knew that this stuff was real, but the government was deny. So here's an insider that's now coming forward and kind of confirming what we already new. And that makes it interesting. Some people don't find it, they're like, well, I already kind of knew that anyhow. Who cares? But to me, it's kind of a big deal because it kind of vindicates a lot of the work that you've done, that we've all believed through the years. That, Bob Lazar. I mean, this really pumps up his story. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah. And Stephen Greer, of course, is helping to spearhead this disclosure movement and giving a platform for a lot of whistleblowers. Yeah. He recently had a whole press conference where he allowed other people to step forward and talk about their story. Of course, there's Stephen Bassett, who's also doing the same type of work. But again, this isn't not a real congressional hearing at this point. We're waiting for the actual sitting members of Congress to start talking about this.
So these things have been, these meetings with Congress have been with private Congress members, probably in a skiff, I would imagine. Right? It isn't like everybody's privy to this. It's just what the Intelligence Committee members have heard this testimony from David Grush.
Exactly. Well, we don't know. I mean, some of the senators and congressmen and people within government, people who are within the intelligence community in particular, probably do know a lot more than we're hearing, because he has turned over material, Grush, which is not available, as you said, to the public eye. So there could be some real, explosive material there. But I suspect that this whole disclosure, I mean, we know this. I think the only real driving force behind disclosure right now is the fact that they're beginning to lose control of the narrative.
Yeah.
So they're basically saying, okay, we have to say something, or we're going to reach a level where we're just no longer credible or relevant.
So you think it's just public pressure of there's just so much evidence that they would look foolish if they didn't acknowledge some of it.
Exactly. It's reached the point where pretty much everyone on this planet knows what a UFO is. Most people believe in this subject. And if they are not willing to say that UFOs are real, well, then they're going to look like idiots because the evidence is there. Disclosure, in effect, has already happened, not from our governments, but through the ETs, through the people themselves, experiencers. There's enough evidence out there in the form of landing traces, firsthand accounts from witnesses, photographs, radar returns. I mean, I could go on and on. The medical evidence, the implant removal cases.
Yeah.
The evidence is there. There's no doubt this is a real subject. If you're skeptical of it, you simply haven't done your homework. I don't mean to be rude about it, but it's true.
Yeah.
The evidence is there.
So do you feel like they're going to limit the disclosure as much as humanly possible, and basically they're just going to have to be dragged out? It's going to have to be dragged out of them as more and more evidence comes to light outside of them, sharing that with the public.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, just look at, based on the history of our, I don't like calling them the government because it's technically not, but the folks behind the cover-up have never told the truth on this subject. Not in the congressional hearings. They lied throughout that. The head of our Defense Department, Moultrie and Daley, lied flat out when they were asked, have we ever shot at these craft? They said no. That's demonstrably untrue. A lot of what they said, we have no reporting on the Malmstrom incident. Anyone who's been in this field for any length of time knows that in 1967, UFOs hovered over Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana and shut down our nuclear-tipped ICBM missiles. And they said, we have no reporting on this. They've lied. They're still lying. They say, we don't know what these objects are. Yes, you do. We know you know. They know, we know. I mean, this cover-up has become untenable. It's an open conspiracy. And this is, I think, the driving force. Again, they're not doing this voluntarily. They're doing this for their own benefit. Sort of like the civil rights movement. This was not something that was embraced by the people in power. It had to happen because it was to their benefit to basically say that all people are equal. But I don't expect them to ever be fully forthcoming because they never have been.
Well, let's switch gear a little bit and let's talk about how these craft and why they've come down. Obviously, there's been some craft shot down. I mean, there's just no way you could deny that. But I think some craft, haven't they crashed on their own because of a strange malfunction or a reaction to our radar or God knows? Do you have any, knowledge and things you want to talk about? Because there have been a lot of these things reported. Far more. How many crashes, first off, Preston, do you think there have been?
Well, more than most people think. It's certainly not just Roswell.
Right.
I don't know, and having looked into this pretty extensively, I don't know of any really credible cases where we've actually shot them down. I really don't. I think some of that might be disinformation. Of course, recently there was that we shot down 3-4 craft, in the beginning of this year,
okay.
which, turned out not to be craft.
Right.
I think they are crashing.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. How you would think that a advanced civilization or an advanced race of people that somehow have this technology or can travel through time or God knows, what they are, you would think they would have the technology not to crash. What's causing these crashes? What do you think? What's your theories?
Yeah, well, I think, we've got a pretty good handle on it, having talked to a lot of experiencers. Who I'll just quote one of my favorite experiencers who I wrote a book about called Symmetry. Her name is Dolly Safran. She's a fully conscious contactee, and she asked the ETs this question. And this is what I have heard from other contactees, that what is going on here is that these craft basically use our magnetic and gravitational field lines of this planet to come up and down and travel
right.
in terms of interplanetary, not perhaps interstellar distances. It's a different sort of thing. But our magnetic field lines are very unstable, particularly over the last 50, 100 years. And you can look this up. The science on this is pretty, it's a little bit covered up, but it's out there for sure. You can see how our sun has become really unstable with a lot of CMEs, coronal mass ejections. The Carrington event is a really well-known, super big CME, which knocked out our emerging telegraph system. That's what we're dealing with. This, according to the contactees, who I think are the best place to look for valid evidence on this subject, not our governments, not the pundits on TV, not the reality TV shows, not the media, who's very fear-based and sensationalizes everything. The contactees, this is what they're being told.
Okay.
So the craft are basically using our magnetic field lines, and because they're so unstable, because there's a lot of activity, certainly in the past, we're not talking about 10 or 20 sightings a day, which is how much NUFORC or MUFON gets. The Mutual UFO Network and the National UFO Reporting Center get 20, 30 reports daily. Well, as a researcher, and any researcher will back me up on this, most people don't report it. I would say 1 in 100. And that's, I think pretty accurate. Let's be generous and say it's 1 in 20. That would mean that there's 200, 300, 400 reports daily. So there's someone seeing a UFO at any given time. This is why they do crash. No one's perfect. And I think when they're out there in large numbers and our magnetic field lines are so unstable, accidents happen.
Well, I've used that exact line when I've talked to my research partners going, there's nothing perfect in the whole universe. Nothing is perfect. And so let's see, there was a comment, Dolly Safran, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, had a really cool comment. Do you want to throw that up, Alex? Can you read that, Preston?
Yeah. Dolly Safran is the witness in the book Symmetry.
Oh,
hi, Dolly. Yeah,
you know her. Oh, okay.
I do. Oh, yeah. She's probably my favorite contactee that I've ever interviewed.
Okay, so she is claiming that she's getting her information direct from these extraterrestrials, correct?
Oh, yeah, and she is. And I can tell you, she is legit. She is a registered nurse, retired, but
I mean, that's an awful scientific explanation that kind of, I read that and it's a brief explanation, but it does make kind of sense because if they're coming low to the earth, it has nothing to do with space, but if they're coming that low into earth, 300 feet above the earth, there's a lot that can go wrong then suddenly, when you're close to mountains and hills and trees and things. And I would imagine they're kind of floating on a, like a magic top. It's like when you spin a top on your desk, sometimes it spins nice, sometimes it just goes kaput, falls over. Super interesting. I heard once, and this was just from somebody with a theory, they said that we had turned on our LiDAR radar for the first time in 1947, and ever since then, they have been crashing. But that never really made much sense to me. What say you, Preston?
Yeah, I've heard a few scattered reports, but I haven't heard enough good reporting on that to say that radar really does cause any things. I saw the other question, just that the last one you put up, from David. Is it possible that atomic testing had a role in changing the magnetic field lines? I'm not sure if I would put it quite that way, but having talked to contactees, and Dolly Saffron confirmed this for me, because I've heard this from a number of other contactees. And this is my specialty, this is where I've really focused my research on people who've had direct contact. And it's the number one message, almost without exception, that people will get beyond, don't be afraid. We won't hurt you. You're fine. If people aren't having a complete panic attack, the ETs will communicate with you. And they will say almost every time warnings against nuclear proliferation and the dangers of using nuclear materials. Because in detail, what happens is it's affecting areas we're not even aware of, interdimensionally wise. I mean, it's causing all kinds of damage we don't even know about. So
is Dolly saying the poles are getting ready to flip?
Yes. Yeah. And if you look on the science on this, you'll see that it's true, that this is something that regularly occurs.
Yeah.
This is
there's
sort
evidence.
of
a lot of evidence for it.
A fairly natural cycle, you might
say.
How
do you explain a mammoth eating grass and greenery, and then it's frozen suddenly, frozen under a block of ice?
Yeah.
It's got a tropical plant in its mouth. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Dolly for 5, 6, 7 years vetting her story. I'm continuing to get confirmation, not only from other contactees, but all different places. I just recently read about the Australian Aborigines and their oral history of having, an oral history of the time that the planets did flip, and all the stars changed their positions, and mountains were flattened, and deserts became mountains, and oceans rushed in. So this is something that happens every 12,000 years or so.
Yeah. Adam, you got the floor. Take the floor.
Yeah, well, that ties into that whole, mass extinction event, 13,000 years ago?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, it's really interesting, this field, because we're looking at ETs that look just like us, human looking. So that raises serious questions about human origins and has all kinds of implications about our relationship to them. And there's a lot of people speculating that we originally lived on Mars, which of course now is a dead planet with no magnetic field. You can't live there. So for all the super soldiers, I don't know what to tell you, but you cannot live there.
So how much overdue are we for this flip?
It's imminent. Yeah, it's really hard to predict geological events. We've had a number of CMEs that missed us, which would have knocked down our grid. And according to Dolly Saffron and a number of other contactees, it's imminent. And it's basically It could happen at any time, but certainly we're not looking at more than 5 years before one of these will eventually strike us and knock down the entire grid irreparably.
Yeah.
This is, the Carrington event. If you read about it, it is striking. There was so much energy in the air. These telegraphs were working without.
Yeah, telegraph lines got on fire.
Yeah. It was, and this was a minor CME in comparison to what is.
Why haven't we since we're all so dependent on the internet, literally, you can't buy gas, you can't buy food, you can't do anything if the internet goes down.
Yeah.
Why have we not? I mean, the human race should be smart enough to know, one, we need to beef up our grid. We need underground grids. We need, certain backup systems at stores and gas stations and trucking. We have nothing.
Yeah.
I was shopping the other day and their systems were down and the lines backed up. I mean, that's how fragile it is. You got 20 people in line to check out just because their systems are down.
Yeah.
This is a very serious situation. If you look at contactees, you will see a number of them are moving off grid. A lot of them are very into gardening, saving food.
Yeah.
Even subconsciously, they know what's coming. Our governments know. If you look at the power elite, they're going underground. They're building underground bases. They do not have our best interests in mind. There's a lot of reasons why we've had such real chaos over the past 5 or 10 years, and let's face it, longer than that.
I've got a question for Alex. Alex, have you noticed that the internet has been less kind of shaky and flaky the last, few months, last month, last week? Anything you've noticed at the office?
It just depends. Some days it's better, sometimes it's worse.
But you do notice it's not as solid as you'd like?
Luckily, I've been fortunate, but everyone's experience is going to be different.
Yeah.
I have a question for Preston. I was just recently out in Denver. Do you have any more information about what's under the Denver airport, or is that something you don't want to talk about?
I haven't really researched it in depth. I know the stories. I don't know anything other than what's in the public arena. But I think that's one of many locations where there's stuff going on underground that the general public certainly isn't aware of. We all know about the Cheyenne Mountain Complex. But if you look into the military bases all across the U.S. and for that matter, the entire world, they have dug down and are hoping to survive this upcoming massive CME, which they probably won't, because what's going to happen is the initial shots will knock down our grid, and basically to a point that's irreparable. But this is the precursor to what appears to be a micronova, and this is where the science is hard to find, but it's out there. Look at Betelgeuse and what people are saying about that. Micronovas are just now, there's so much evidence that they cannot deny it anymore, but that's what we're facing. And so this is a message a lot of contactees have gotten, that a time is going to come when our sun is going to make this planet unlivable. And people have gotten this message in different ways, but one that's very much universal is that a day is coming when the sky will fill with ships and people will be scooped up. And Dolly certainly talked very extensively and lucidly about that, but I hear that from so many contactees.
Wow.
Whether it's dreams or...
you were talking about the sun and the CMEs. I have noticed some really weird stuff. Okay, now I'm going to give you a few examples. I went to put my new tags on my pontoon from last year.
Right.
But on the left side, where it gets the most sun, the actual old tag, the old vinyl, was black, burnt, as if it was on fire. I have never seen anything like that. It was literally crispy.
Right.
Okay. Shades at work in our office became black over a week. Kind of a dark brown, like they were fried. I had opaque garage film. It's supposed to be like 30-year film. all of a sudden in one day it started getting burnt. And I'm like, what the frick is going on? You have this stuff on forever and all of a sudden it burns. So I've noticed little things like that. I take notice on it. It just seems a little weird. I don't know.
Yeah, well, kudos to you for being aware, because a lot of people are not.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, we were able to go outside and stay outside under the sun all day.
Yeah.
You go out, I was driving along. I'm like, ow, I thought there was a coal on my hand. No, it was just sunlight. There's definitely something going on with the sun, and it behooves everyone to stop listening to the misinformation and disinformation and do your own research. Don't believe anything I'm saying. Look it up.
I've just noticed some things that are getting burnt that normally wouldn't get. Oh, give an example. Have kayaks forever. I put even new seats and straps. They were fried to the point they all broke. And I had a rope, an anchor rope on my boat. I've never seen nylon rope. It fried and frayed and disintegrated in the sun.
Well, look what happened.
That. I've been boating for 50 years. I've never seen that. In 1 year, we're talking 20-year-old rope. Preston, it was 1 year old.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm talking. Canada is dealing with these enormous wildfires. California practically burnt down a couple of years ago. Australia. This is something that everyone should pay very close attention to. This is not normal. This is part of, the whole thing we're dealing with right now. If you look at the rates of skin cancer and mental illness and cancer in general and all of this stuff.
We don't want to talk about any diseases, right, Alex?
Yeah.
I know, I'm sorry.
No,
no, you're fine.
Just kind of like,
speaking of being silenced, we want to keep this.
That's kind of getting bad too. But I'm just really want to stress that I've noticed things being destroyed that normally would never get destroyed in the sun, especially in the short season they've been out. We only had the sun out here in Minnesota for a few months, and brand new nylon rope doesn't disintegrate. I mean, it disintegrated.
Lots of weather records being broken right now.
Well,
all the time.
But I really personally feel the sun is what's causing it.
Yeah,
it wasn't high temps. I mean, it's always warm in the summer, but it was like the UV rays are so strong that they're doing some really weird stuff.
Yeah. Well, I hope people who are listening to this pay attention.
Yeah, it would be nice people, if they have other comments they want to put in the comments of little things they've noticed with their shades or their blinds or Venetian blinds, things that they use to block the sun. If they've noticed suddenly they got discolored, those are the kinds of things I'm super interested in. All right, back to UFOs. Is there or is there not, or do you think people are just more willing to come forward? Is there a huge increase in the amount of UFO sightings?
No.
What
I'm noticing the opposite, actually, an actual decrease in the number of sightings. What we are seeing is a lot more sightings of what I would call reverse engineered craft, the triangular craft, the TR-3B, things like this. And there was a huge increase in sightings in 2020 and 2021. And I talked to Dolly about this, and she basically said, listen, a lot of people don't know this, but they should. The ETs are leaving en masse. Our planet has become so unstable that they're not here right now. And take a look at the reports from MUFON and Newfork, and you'll see a lot of reports of lights and stuff like this, anomalous lights, and triangular craft, certainly. But those are very likely our own. So I'm not seeing an increase. I'm seeing a decrease. And that corresponds with what Dolly and other contactees are saying.
That's weird.
Which is, they're basically not here.
So I've never heard this before, and I doubt many people have heard that the ETs are possibly leaving in droves Earth. That's kind of spooky if it's true. That's really spooky, if true.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think Dolly is trying very hard to get this message out.
That's amazing.
So it's definitely something worth paying attention
I just don't
to.
think that's something somebody can just make up. Oh, suddenly they go, oh, I think ETs. I mean, who's gonna dream that up? So I do find it interesting when I hear facts like that from somebody like Dolly. It seems almost too detailed.
Yeah, well, this is what I like about her story, because I've interviewed a lot of people, and a good number of them have missing time, a lot of fear, amnesia, or accounts are recalled through hypnotic regression. Not her. She's one of a handful of, I'm going to say 5 or 10 people are anywhere near her level. Her case is the most extensive of anyone I've heard. So, and she has evidence. I mean, she's got photographs, she's got films, she's got medical evidence. I saw her UFOs myself. And that often happens with these kind of people that I've interviewed who are fully conscious contactees.
Okay, well, this kind of goes along with what you're talking about. Swope, who's just being a very open-minded skeptic, he's asking the question, why would an ET single out a single person? Can you kind of expound on that question for him?
They don't. They absolutely do not. They are contacting people in very large numbers. Way back when I first started doing this research, I heard a quote from J. Allen Hynek. And of course, he's the astronomical consultant for Project Blue Book who defected and basically started writing his own books. He said 1 in 40 people who've had an onboard experience. I thought, no, there's no way. That's far too numerous. That's millions of people. And that's what got me to ask everyone I knew within my circle. I didn't have to ask 40 people, and I found 5 people. And of course, later in 1991, the Roper polling organization found a very similar number, 1 in 50. So there are a lot of people like Dolly, thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands on this planet, most who are wise enough not to go public because they are watched by the secret government. I saw it happen with Dolly. She sent me incontrovertible evidence of it. I actually witnessed it myself when I met her firsthand at the UFO con, or the Mega Con in Laughlin. We were followed, no doubt. So what we're dealing with is a lot of people having contact and a smaller minority able to break through that barrier of amnesia and fear and that sort of thing.
Swope says, I'm not a skeptic of ETs. I've had my own experiences, but it was a good question. I was trying to compliment you. I thought it was a good question.
Yeah. Yeah.
I appreciate all, things in chat. And I talk about things I don't know about. I talk about, there's so many theories and things, and, and I want to get these topics out, just talk about them, and people can make their own damn mind up, because we're all looking for answers. I think that's kind of why we're all here. And it's fun to explore all these. So please, ask questions. Your questions here are important. They're very important.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that the ETs are not only trying to warn people about the uses of atomic power, but the way we're polluting our planet, but more so, they're really, you can see this in the first-hand contactee accounts. They want people to wake up to our own abilities of telepathy in particular, but astral projection, remote viewing, healing, that's a huge part of contact experience.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Preston. Sorry.
No worries.
Could we, Dolly, if you could, you're hearing me, of course. Why don't they just share their technology? Obviously, they have technology that would be less polluting, probably infinite power, ways to get power out of the ground and the air. Why isn't it being shared? Wouldn't that help save the planet? That's,
No, it wouldn't. It really wouldn't. A number of contactees have asked this exact question, including Dolly. I interviewed another lady, Karen Holton. She talked about this. Many contactees have asked this. No, it wouldn't help at all because we abuse technology. There's been no deals with our governments in exchange for quote abductions for technology. That's misinformation that a lot of people have bought into. It's not true.
Yeah.
They would never in a million years give over healing technology because we would abuse it. They would never in a million years give over any technology.
When you say abuse it, you mean use it for war?
For nefarious purposes. Suppress it, use it for only the power elite. And we have some evidence of that already. There have been UFO crashes.
Yeah.
There are whistleblowers who've talked about the technology that's been pulled from these craft. And some of these people are talking about some of the healing technology, which is not being used in public hospitals. It's being used only by those who are in the, the circle, in the 1%ers of call them what you will.
Yeah.
The cabal. But yeah, they're not going to hand over the answers. They're not going to come down and solve our problems. They will intervene to the extent that they are allowed to by karmic law. That comes up quite a bit in contactee accounts. But it's up to us to solve our own problems, plain and simple.
Do you think they would be interested in stopping a nuclear launch, or do you think they would allow it to happen?
I wouldn't count on it because we've already seen the fact that Hiroshima and Nagasaki weren't stopped.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're
Dolly
right.
asked about that, and they said you would never have learned your lesson if we did.
Yeah.
She says there have been a few interventions, but we cannot count on that. We have made our own beds. We've made our own mess. We have to learn our own lessons. I think it's possible that they will intervene if it affects areas that might harm beyond just us. But no, they're not going to come down and solve our problems for us.
Okay. Alex?
So Preston, obviously the government is really reluctant to disclose anything. Why don't they just land in the front lawn of the White House? Why don't they just come out basically completely in public? Obviously, it sounds like there's a ton of abductees, but like completely open in a way that the government couldn't deny anything to.
Yeah, because
warn.
you had mentioned, Preston, someday maybe the skies will be filled with craft. Can you? Yeah, I like your question, Alex.
Yeah, well, they did. They did try to land on the White House lawn in 1952. Probably would have.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the footage.
Yeah, it was very negative. And there have been, it's a very vigorous publicity campaign on the part of the ETs doing displays. This was a term coined years ago in the 50s by, I believe it was Frank Salisbury of the Utah UFO display. He's like, these guys are showing themselves on purpose. And I did a book on this on schoolyard encounters, where they absolutely are putting on a publicity campaign over drive-in movie theaters. I've got 100 cases. They are hovering over major city centers. There was a gentleman in North Carolina, I think it was, thereabouts, Donald Shawcross, who had a face-to-face meeting with an ET from a landed UFO. And he asked them that question. They said, why don't you just reveal yourselves? And their answer was, we have. Look at the Turkey footage, which was 2000, I think, 7, 8, and 9.
Don't you think that the Arizona Phoenix footage was probably the most seen live?
That was a very widely viewed event, certainly. But the footage that came out of it was not the best footage, not like the Turkey footage, which is absolutely undeniable.
I'm not familiar with the Turkey footage. Is there
all you have
something
to do
else?
is just type in Turkey UFO. It's a very large metallic craft with little humanoids in there.
Oh, yeah, I have seen that.
And
But that wasn't witnessed by a lot of people, though, was it?
Well, fairly large, but it was photographed, videotaped over and over again, and the Turkish government studied it extensively, as did photographic experts and scientists and UFO researchers.
Know that, yeah.
And that is disclosure. The ETs have done disclosure. The proof is there. There are so many landing trace cases, not hundreds, thousands.
Yeah. What is the most viewed UFO event in the world? Do you know?
Yeah, it's probably the one in Fatima, Portugal in 1912, 1913, thereabouts.
Can you describe that sighting? Yeah. Fantastic.
Back then, it was pretty much interpreted as a religious miracle. But modern day researchers have gathered the accounts of people who described metallic surface. Basically, this involved 3 children who got a prediction from an apparition who was a religious figure, they believed. And it drew, I think it was 20,000 the first day, 40,000. I think it was up to 70,000 people on the final event, where a very bright object came and crisscrossed the sky and dropped what we call angel hair. So there were healings reported. People felt heat from this object. And yeah, this was some time ago, over 100 years, and was interpreted back then as a religious event. But a lot of researchers are taking a second look at that and saying, this could very well have been a actual UFO event. But there are modern cases as well. There was a case in New Mexico in the small town of Farmington, which was viewed by some 1,000, 2,000 people minimum, which was photographed. It went on for hours, and it was about 50 or 100 craft. So that was also, they tried to debunk that one as fragments of a skyhook balloon, which the witnesses say, no, there's no way. Some of these objects were structured. They were darting back and forth, moving from one side of the sky to the other. That was another really clear, honest to God display. And very widely viewed.
What was with all of the bluster, when the Chinese balloon, the big one, they first went through, there were photos, and then there was all this talk every day about objects being shot down or viewed, but then they were shot down. But the government was so they were calling them UFOs, but they were probably just balloons. Some were hobby projects. But what was all the, that whole thing, that week, it was maybe a week or 2 weeks. It was a period of total confusion. I have never seen anything like it. Yeah. You know the week I'm talking about, I'm sure.
Oh, I'll never forget it. Yeah, that was in January of this year.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But what was the bottom line of that whole? What was going on? It was just bizarre.
Yeah, well, I think what they're basically doing is pushing an ET threat narrative. And that stunk of propaganda to me. We do not have the ability to shoot these things down. You have to remember, these craft can fly circles around our best aircraft, around our missiles.
Right.
There was a case where we were breaking the altitude barrier in Nevada, and the guy, I think it was Major White, said, well, guys, I've got 6 craft above me. I don't know what they are. These guys are not only, hundreds of years or thousands. We're talking a lot more than that. So this was just pure propaganda. These were not genuine UFOs for a number of reasons. These were not shot down. One, the government would never in a million years admit to shooting them down.
But there was so much hysteria by the government, it seemed. Or all those articles were fake. But every day I'd read the news. It was General was saying this and this. And there was so much secrecy, but yet they were just blabbing. And it was just so confusing with the Chinese balloon.
I found it very curious that they were using the word UFO, and at the time they were so pushing the UAP moniker to move. They never called them UAPs. I think it's pretty clear that those were probably drones from perhaps countries on this earth, if not our own, for that matter. But yeah, it just stunk of propaganda to me. This was a way to sort of move their narrative forward.
I agree. I agree with that one, because I thought, man, this is just all BS. And the articles never even made sense. You'd read an article, it didn't even make sense. It was just confusing, very confusing.
Yeah. In fact, we now have this new office called the AARO. I mentioned that earlier, the All Domain Anomaly Reconnaissance Office. I looked into that because I'm like, maybe we have an actual UFO study group, because Blue Book wasn't real. This was just again, propaganda. J. Allen Hynek got so disgusted with it.
Yeah.
The best cases never reached Blue Book, by the way. They never did.
Of course not.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. This was an
Alex,
exercise.
so I want to play a bunch of clips. Well, it's not that many. It's what, 5 or 6, Alex?
Yeah.
Something like that. So I just want to play them. I want to get your opinion, real or fake. What's your thoughts? Because we've never done that with you. Just and you know, just we're just doing it just because it's interesting. It's the only thing I can tell you. I believe them, don't believe them. But this is the kind of stuff that floods the internet every day. So it's either real, some of it's real, some of it's not real. And, you know, a lot of it's on TikTok, of course, and Reddit, and YouTube. But go ahead and let's play this one. This is in Boston. We've got showing objects coming from the Earth, heading out into space. Thoughts? Real, fake? Really fake, or maybe real?
Well, you know, for me to make a qualified judgment on that, I'd need to talk to the witnesses.
Okay.
It doesn't look real to me. I need to know the date this took place. I want to know what was going on before and afterwards. Because something like that over a city of Boston would be very widely viewed.
You would think.
So that's raising a red flag right there.
Yep.
UFOs generally are very distinctive they display what the UFO researchers call observables. And by that, they will dart across the sky very high speed, stop, hover, turn at right angles. They're not making sounds. They travel in a certain way. So those, I'm not a photographic expert by any means.
No. But I
just your initial impression.
Yeah, I just want to get your initial impression, and we just got it. That's perfect.
I'm skeptical.
Yep, no, that's perfect. That's exactly what kind of stuff I want to hear. Just go ahead and play clip 2. And Adam, you can weigh in too. Okay. So can you, Alex?
It will be on our go. On copy Moscow, on your go. Steady mark. Closing.
Supposedly NASA footage. I thought, well, this is really interesting till the end.
Contact and capture.
And we've got.
That's where they lost me, when they went close up on it. And
yeah, I'm going to put a big no on that one.
Yep, me too. Yep, agree.
Because we don't, generally speaking, UFOs have a very smooth texture to them.
But what percentage of the people are seeing this crap going, "Ooh, that's real"? You know what I mean? That's what I worry about, because either real or fake. It's not. It's people don't know what the truth is.
Yeah, I mean, there are reports of cylindrical objects, but not with flat ends like that. I get a lot of reports from people, and the general shape of UFO is saucer-shaped. People will report egg-shaped, cigar-shaped, and there are, spheres as well. But that does not look real to me. The markings on the outside, no.
Okay. Yep, I agree 100%.
And that didn't even look like.
No, Adam, above you, had a sighting. When was that, Adam? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. I was out in Colorado hanging with my
you saw a craft on it with its belly forward, correct?
No, it was kind of just tilted, just like like that.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe with a little bit.
But still belly forward.
No, I think it was top forward. So, but
you mean upside down?
No, it was just with
its belly was where your palm is.
I could see the top surface better than the bottom surface.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what shape was it? And what did it look like?
Classic saucer.
All right.
Silver. It was just a solid silver reflection, and it hovered for about 10 minutes and then just took off. So, and was great though, as I was with my family and I pointed it out, and 3 or 4 of us got our cameras out and took pictures of it. And so, they're like, I'm like, the government says they're real. Now you don't have to, harass me anymore. I had a really interesting sighting when I was a kid in that same area. There was a craft that hovered above the mountain, but it was black, like it absorbed light black. and it was oval shaped, and I'd have to say it was probably 300 yards. It was a big craft. And my friend and I just sat there and watched it for like 20 minutes, and we were kids and we just got bored and went home. It just sat there. So I never got to see it leave, but it looked like a hole in the sky. A giant oval hole in the sky. So have you heard reports of that shape or that color?
Yeah, I mean, that does come up. It's not super common. It does remind me of a port at Maranui, New Zealand, where a craft hovered over a schoolyard.
Okay.
And it did have that initial appearance, though it later turned on its side and they could see that this was in fact a craft, and it took off.
Gotcha.
And, there is a behavior of UFOs where they're sometimes seen horizontally or rocking. This is if it's rocking around like that, that's a good indication that could very well be genuine. But they often will turn on their side, and that's how they take off. But yeah, they initially saw it as just this dark spot in the sky.
Yeah.
Alex, did you see the message from Dolly?
Yeah.
She said she sent you some photos. I don't know if she sent them through Messenger or through your Untold Radio email.
I found them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, she's taken some really good
Do
footage.
you mind if we put them up, Preston?
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, I'm sure she'd be very pleased if she sent them to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just working on grabbing them right now.
All right. Yes. No rush.
Yeah,
No
but she
rush.
decided she was going to go forward, and like many contactees, it's not that easy to take a picture of a UFO. I've got case after case where people have held up a camera and it powers down.
Yeah.
I just got another case where the craft darted away instant.
Well, I had a case where I had almost like a 1 week old iPhone, and we had a bunch of orbs in our yard and all over our roof. And I got the camera out and I'm filming, everything's great, everything's on. But I take the phone, inside the house to see it, and my phone is dead. And it would not take a charge. I ran it up to Sprint store, and they tried to get the footage off. They couldn't. They said, your phone's a brick. I had to buy a new iPhone. It burned out all of our low voltage. And Adam's a low voltage expert. Burned out all the HDMI ports in our TVs. Burned out our thermostats. Burned out our vacuum. Burned out all this stuff. Burned out my boat controller.
Wow.
And I mean, that cost me almost $10,000, that sighting.
Wow.
Okay, there you can see.
Oh, this is Dolly stuff. Cool.
The oval shape of it.
Yeah.
This is where it's giving off a huge illumination. Yeah, but this is her craft that she actually goes on board and pilots. They taught her how to fly the craft.
And Dolly says you've seen this thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. When we went to the MegaCon in, I think it was, 2021. Gosh, time flies so fast. I think it was 2021. May have been 2022. But yeah, it came down. I didn't get to see it as close up as I would have liked because it came down even closer the night before I got there. And it got on the news in Phoenix. And I watched the news. I'm still trying to find that footage.
Well, can you explain what we're seeing here? We see an orange glow in the middle, and then it goes to red, and then we see a straw-colored streak off one side.
What you're looking at is a metallic craft in a sort of boomerang, sort of half disc, if you will.
Okay.
And one side is all lit up. And if you look at the turkey footage, it looks just like this. This is her craft.
Are you saying that
those are alive, by the way?
Okay. Say that again, Preston? I'm sorry.
These craft are embodied. They are living beings in a sense. They're not quite like us, but they are embodied.
Are they like organic?
Partially organic. They're very technologically
biological.
Advanced. But contactee after contactee has told me, like, I thought this ship was actually alive. And Dolly explained that very lucidly. This is why I love her case, because she kind of filled in the blanks and connected the dots for me. She's like, oh yeah, craft are embodied. They're indwelled by a fifth dimensional entity who basically runs all the craft systems. And many people are being taught how to fly these craft. I've had a number of contactees tell me this. So when Dolly said, "Oh yeah, they taught me how to fly these craft," and here we go. In fact, Grant Cameron just put out a book called Sky Pilots, and he interviewed some 50 people who've reported this. So, yeah,
do you think
a lot of she calls the craft?
Yeah, what, Adam?
Getting ready for an evacuation? They want human pilots?
Yes. Yep. I think that's it in a nutshell.
I mean, it's all so wild and so hard to swallow, but yet truth is so much stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
I like to remind people of that.
Yeah.
Do you have any more pictures, Alex?
Yeah.
From Dolly?
Yeah, this is another one that's basically the same thing. It's a little bit of a more close up. She's got some really good footage. She's got a YouTube channel where she puts most of her stuff up.
Oh, okay.
She hasn't put up. It's Dolly Safran, all one word, where you can see it. But she's got moving footage, daylight footage. She's got one where it came right down over her house.
Come here, look at my camera.
Okay, here's one that this was taken the day before I got
Do a
to.
flyby.
If I'm correct.
I asked for it. We're getting it.
Yeah.
They told me to start looking.
And so this is the craft, and you can see the orange light is flaring up. You can see the actual shape of the craft.
Wow.
But if this is the footage I think of it.
Oh, what I'm seeing is the lens going out of focus, but are you saying with your naked eye, you saw the light flare with the naked eye?
I wasn't there for that sighting, but she did have another witness who I do know well and talked to about it, Yvonne.
Well, the color is certainly not a standard aircraft.
No. Right. That, I believe, is the turkey footage. A still frame from the turkey footage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you can see that's exactly the craft.
Anything else, Alex?
There's this last.
That's an image of the Talata, which is the name of the craft, dropping a drone, an ET drone. Because Dolly is followed basically by these ETs. They're watching over her. They watch over all contactees. Well, they're watching over everybody, to be perfectly honest. But they're very watching over very carefully those who are in direct contact with them. And
have they given Dolly any sort of timeline to these events? Do we need to be ready for something soon, or next 50 years, or what?
Not 50 years. It's, again, very difficult to give an exact timeline in terms of the CME and the micronova, but within tomorrow, to 2 years to 5 years, they don't believe it's going to take much longer than that before there is a CME which knocks down our grid. And 8 to 10 years when the sun will micronova. And there's science on this. This is one of the reasons we did go to the moon. I looked it up. It's hard to find. But there's evidence that our sun has micronovaed before, and they found evidence of it.
Can you explain what you mean by micronovad, Preston?
Yeah. Our sun, with its extreme gravitation, pulls in a lot of the dust and asteroids, and over a period of years, it builds up on a shell around the sun, and at one point just blows off. So that is basically what a micronova.
So it's a micro explosion, basically, smaller.
Yeah. And
okay.
But it's shooting out actual debris.
You know, it's always shocking to think that the sun is traveling through the Milky Way at 4 million miles an hour and dragging all of these planets with it as it all corkscrews through the damn Milky Way. And it takes what? How many millions of years to make its full revolution? And then we're going around the sun and we're spinning. And oh my God, it's incredible that we even wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's 10 miles straight up. You're dead. You can drive 10 miles in any direction and you're fine. The Earth has got a fragile little thin layer of atmosphere.
Yeah,
but it's being held in place by our magnetic
That's good to
field.
know. Thanks, Preston. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye.
This is why our magnetic fields are so important. This is why our governments are completely free.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it is delicate. There's no doubt. It's very delicate. Do we have any more clips, Alex?
Yeah, we do.
Throw up the next one. This one's
An
really
unidentified
interesting.
object landed in Wisconsin, and military jets scrambled to the scene. This is a 100% true story, and I'll even show you the video to prove it. The incident took place in Wisconsin back in the summer of 22 when a woman and several other witnesses noticed an object falling from the sky. Let's analyze the footage.
Look at that, girl. Look at that hearing. See it? It's falling from the sky, like it came out of space. Where'd it go? Where's the? It dropped. OMG!
I like this clip,
looking.
Preston,
Where'd
because
it
there's
go? I
audio.
heard a loud cry.
That's at least
That
that
wasn't
red
even the
flag's
scary
not there.
part. Moments later, 4 military jets scrambled to the scene.
My first impression does not look like
Now, it's important to note that the object could have been anything. I mean, let's be honest, it could have been part of a military drill for all we know. But the concerning part is it happened over a populated area. And the object that fell, well, it didn't even have a parachute.
All right, there you go. What are your first impressions?
Yeah, well, I would like to interview the witnesses. I'd like to know where exactly that came down, see if there are other witnesses. Its movement wasn't really typical of UFOs, honestly. And I'm not sure that the appearance of the jets is enough to say that this was, being chased by them. These clips are so hard. I mean, that does give the feeling of being a non-CGI acted event. Some of this CGI stuff and the people are clearly acting. So I will give it that. But it's not close enough to really give any solid conclusions. It wasn't acting, in my experience, like a genuine UFO, which can move a heck of a lot faster than that. But yeah, sometimes they do allow themselves to be seen. Yeah, but given the time frame here, and if they're not here, like Dolly says, well, that speaks against this case. And it could very well be government technology, because we absolutely do have reverse engineered craft. There's no doubt about that, just based on the many, many accounts of whistleblowers. And you can take David Rush right out of it. It wouldn't make an iota of difference. There are hundreds upon hundreds of testimonies from people who are in a position to know that we do have this technology and have developed it to a certain degree.
Doug, I think you're muted.
So a question for you, Preston. You say we've got these craft, and you said before that they don't give us technology willingly. So because we abuse it, obviously.
Right.
But our governments are super, obviously they've collected these crafts. We've got the whistleblowers confirming that now. And we're reverse engineering all of their technology.
Are we having any luck? Reverse engineering?
No, it's my understanding that there are craft that we haven't even been able to get inside of.
Wow.
We can't open it. And there are people who really focus on this. Michael Schratt is really focused a lot on the crash retrieval phenomena, which I haven't. So it's hard for me to talk with a whole lot of authority about it. But yeah, it's my understanding we've only, in a very limited capacity, reverse engineered this. We do not have the ability to travel interstellar distances. This is certainly what Dolly's told me.
I heard a rumor. I'm gonna mention this before I forget it. That a whistleblower has recently come forward and said we have a craft that's so big they can't even move it.
Yeah, I had people asking me about that one. I have not heard of that, so I don't know how to answer, respond to that.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
What did they build to cover it up?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. It was just weird. It was just one of those things.
I mean, I do have a first-hand case of whistleblower who I'd love to briefly mention because he was working
please.
as a subcontractor doing construction for Edwards Air Force Base. He was called in by his employer who went to Edwards. And we said, Edwards, of course, my ears pricked up. If you know anything about Edwards, it's UFO Central. All kinds of sightings over there and reports of reverse engineering, this sort of thing. But long story short, he was walking along the tarmac next to a warehouse that had a very large open window, heard a humming noise, looked over and saw a UFO, which he said was about the size of a small sports car, absolutely mirror silver, and hovering about 2-3 feet off the ground. Turned to his employer and said, "What's that?" And his employer turned sheet white and said, "I cannot talk about it. Don't ask me ever again." And the guy I interviewed, who was actually in a hospital on his deathbed, he's passed away. He called him because he wanted to do his part for disclosure. Could not get his employer to admit it until a year later when his employer called and said, "I need you. It's an emergency job." And the guy I interviewed said, "I'm not doing it unless you tell me what we saw." And his employer said, "Okay, but you could promise never to tell anyone." And he kept that promise till pretty much he was on his deathbed. And what his employer told him was this was not an ET craft. This was reverse engineered from ET technology using the concept of counter-rotating magnetic fields, creating a magnetic field outside the craft itself, which propels it in the desired direction. And so that, for what it's worth, there are accounts like this, and and there's a lot of them. Most major researchers have accounts from whistleblowers.
So Helton says, he says, I've heard people claim they have some that are so big, they just bury them. Yep. Crazy.
Denver Airport?
Maybe the airports are actually an alien craft. And then Charles Smoke says, are others having internet problems? And of course, Alex, you did have an internet problem when we first came on. Remember?
Yeah. Internet or computer. It went away when I restarted it.
Okay. Very weird. Do you have any more clips, Alex?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Play another one.
What do you think of this one, Preston?
UFO.
Before Preston comments, I want to hear from Alex and then Adam and then Preston. What do you guys think? What's your first impression? BS or maybe something?
I have never seen a craft change colors like that. But I remember a story you told me, Doug, where you've seen a craft change colors like that.
Yeah.
So.
Something. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was a craft, but Alex, is real or fake or hoaxed?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it. I've never seen any UFO footage that has it almost looked like LED strips that were changing. It's very interesting.
But do you think it was fake or real?
I couldn't say. I mean,
oh my goodness!
You're just say it's real, say it's fake.
Well, I guess
let me say what Preston is going to say. One, I mean, it looked very low in the sky, right? So there had to be a bunch of people that saw this thing. It was practically daylight, super bright. It looks massive. How many people saw this thing? Because if there's only one person submitting a video, I mean, it's a huge triangular shaped thing that's pulsing different lights. You definitely don't miss that. So I would want to see a ton of TikTok videos being submitted by different people from different angles that all saw the same thing.
So you're okay. So you're just being
I'm
talking about first impressions, though. You had a bet. Black or white? Which one? Real or fake?
Fake.
You got $1 million in your pocket. You had to throw it down on one of the colors. Fake? Okay. Preston?
Yeah, well, again, I'm not a photographic expert, but I'm going to give a thumbs down on that one for a number of reasons.
Okay.
One, what bothers me most about a lot of these footages is okay, I can understand not getting the beginning of it, of the UFO showing up. But if you got a craft in the sky, why are we seeing a 30-second clip? Let's see everything you shot. Did this thing move away? You really need to. Today, these days, footage is not good evidence unless it's backed up by eyewitness testimony.
But it's damn interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but you can fake this so easily. Well, this is what I loved about the Mexico City footage in 1991 during the solar eclipse.
Yep, I remember.
I talked to a first-hand witness not too long ago, Martin Rivera. He was there. And this was when a UFO showed up over Mexico City and was viewed by this. Well, you're talking about widely viewed. That was very widely viewed, thousands upon thousands of people. And there were more than 20 people in various locations in the city who videotaped it.
Yep.
And it's difficult to find this footage online because, this is kind of the stuff that gets covered up because it's such good footage. You can find it if you dig deep. But that is the kind of footage I'm like, yes, real. Because you can see it. It's a little disc. It's got that hovering kind of movement that is genuine. Something that's stuck still is generally not real.
So so let's backtrack. So your red flags were there was they picked the wrong part of the footage or didn't show the craft leaving. Do craft always leave?
Yeah, they do. At some point, it's going to either wink out or dart off. It's pretty rare that something just stays there in the sky. And if it does, then you can count on there being a lot of people filming this. Because who doesn't have a cell phone?
Right. Alex, do you have another one?
Yeah, I got another one.
I don't want to spend
this one. I'm not going to play the sound because there is swearing.
Just appears something dropped straight down, and right above it is a black kind of an orb thing. There was a bird that flew by. I do like that white glow around there. That seems to be kind of a normal. I've analyzed a lot of pieces of footage I believe are real, and they have a white glow around the outside. So, first impressions, Alex?
I want to know Adam's first impression.
Well, they did stick around till it left and it blinked out, which was pretty impressive. And like you said, Doug, it does have an energetic orb around it, aura. And so I like it.
Okay, Alex.
Oh, where are all the other witnesses?
Alex, just pick one. It's just a bet. It's just, whatever. Obviously, we don't know the truth. We're never going to know the truth. But what's your first impression?
This one is 100% real.
Okay. All right, Preston, what are your thoughts?
Real footage of a government reverse engineered drone.
Okay.
UFOs do not leave.
Can you describe one of these reverse engineered drones that they're using?
Yeah, well, it's my understanding that the triangular ones are the most popular, the TR-3B, which don't make the roaring engine.
Right, but this is just an orb.
But spherical as well.
Okay.
Some saucer-shaped, rectangular-shaped as well. I mean, there's a number of reports of this from people who are in a position to know. And UFOs don't leave black contrails.
Right.
So I'm going to put a thumbs down on that being a genuine extraterrestrial.
Okay.
Say, it looks like possibly real footage of something that you could call a UFO.
Okay.
But I wouldn't use that.
Well, I was just saying real or hoaxed. I wasn't saying it's an extraterrestrial. I was just trying to get, do you feel it was faked or real footage?
Yeah, well, it gives the impression. I wish I could say, but it gives, it looks real to me, but I don't think it's ET. Not
right. Okay. So if you had a bet, you probably bet it's real.
What did they say in the audio that we couldn't hear?
It's a lot of F-bombs.
Okay.
All right.
Did
Alex,
they say something dropped out of it, or did they say it shot up from the ground?
They didn't, I don't remember. You can't hear it because there's too many.
He's dropping so many F-bombs, you can't hear anything else.
Yeah. Alex, got any more?
Yeah. Yeah, so the next one, video is unavailable, but this is the one after that. And we want to, we're going to play the sound on this.
Obviously, I think taken from an airplane or a passenger jet. On the window. Where's the close-up?
Yeah. If it was a little more oval, that'd be like the one I saw.
Okay. Certainly a cylinder. Alex? Come on, bam, bam, bam.
What do you think, Dad?
I'd say it's real. From just somebody videotaping some God knows what out of the window of a passenger jet. I saw something one time, actually my first flight on a passenger jet, flying from Minneapolis to New York. I saw something that was a beautiful black classic UFO. Me and my dad and your grandfather both watched it. And neither, back, we didn't have cell phones. This is back in the late 70s. Early 70s. So anyhow, who knows? People do film weird stuff from the windows, out the windows.
What do you think, Preston? What do you think, Adam?
I like it.
Yeah, I do like that footage because it feels, you can see the guy trying to focus on it.
Yeah.
It's not super close-up footage.
Yeah.
But it looks unidentified. It doesn't look like it's, because some of the CGI, it's so easily fixed.
Yeah, it's too clear, it's too perfect, it's too everything.
It's too good.
And people can be really good at it and very clever.
Yeah.
There are experts at CGI. I mean, go to any movie.
Put it this way, that one wasn't good enough to get anybody excited or do anything, so why would you even bother?
Why bother faking?
Yeah, why bother faking that one? Any
It's
more?
like eyewitness testimony, because that's, to me, worth even more.
Any more?
Yeah.
Yeah, you better turn the sound off, sir.
This is Over the Moon.
Yeah, Over the Moon. Yeah, there's been anomalous objects photographed, since the 1800s.
Yeah.
So I don't get too weirded out, but I don't know. Is this one? It's kind of
be huge if it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who knows? There's no audio, but there it is. First impressions, Mr. Adam?
I have heard of this kind of stuff over the moon. I just wish our telescopes were better and, you could zoom in on it even more. Because it's, but it looks impressive. I would say probably, I would have to go fake if I had to bet on it. So.
And we'll jump right to Preston. Have you studied some of the anomalous objects photographed on the moon by amateur astronomers and so forth?
Yeah, I sure have. I'm convinced there's stuff up there, no doubt. I talked to a guy who was a whistleblower. He was a photographer on one of the Navy ships, and said that there's a lot of stuff up there. I didn't really believe him at first because I hadn't looked into the whole moon anomalies. But there's no doubt there's stuff up there, and I've talked to a lot of contactees who were shown stuff up there, including Dolly Saffron. She's the latest in a long line. They took her there and showed her.
So somebody may have photographed Dolly's trip. I just don't know.
I would need the date.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't know about this footage. I'm going to stay on the fence with this one. I need to know when it was taken.
You can't be on the fence. You got to pick black or white.
No, I'm good at balancing.
Where do you throw your money? That's what I'm saying. Where do you throw your money? Real or fake?
I'm going to pivot and say I don't know.
Can't. Well, then you can't pass on the bet.
Yeah,
okay. That's fine.
All right, you get $100, Preston, and then there's it's going to be revealed if it's true or not.
Yeah, but we won't know anymore. We got one more. I think that's it.
Yeah. We got one. All right, good one.
Hope this isn't boring to anybody.
That's interesting footage.
Once again, scream uncle if it is. Okay.
Moving pretty slow. So
It's slowed down.
Yeah.
And I do know. Slowed down 50%.
Okay, gotcha. I have seen something like that in one of my security cams in Colorado. What was interesting is that it was moving so fast that I only got one frame of it.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. So
definitely
from mountain peak to mountain peak, it was came over the mountain and went over the other side with one frame.
Okay.
So
what do you guys think, Preston?
Preston.
Well, it appears to be moving in a straight line. So that is not speaking for its veracity.
Yeah.
But it does look like it might be
tilting,
stopping there for a second, which I do find interesting. I do have the same problem with a lot of this footage. It's a clip that I'm not seeing the beginning or the ending of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be a balloon. I don't know. It's behaving in some ways just like a balloon floating across the sky. I know you said this is slowed down.
Yeah, it's slowed down 50%.
So still, I couldn't tell you. In some ways,
and stabilized.
No, if it had stopped and darted at right, reversed course, do the so-called observables, I'd be a lot more.
Well, here's the shock with this one. I filmed it.
Ah, all right.
I filmed it because that object was right by my head, and we were on the deck. We were sunning, and Yvette started to scream. And I can tell you she has suffered from PTSD ever since that day.
So when was this?
She won't even go out with me anymore to look at the stars because that thing was blacker than black. And basically she saw this thing go around our pine tree, right? She thought it was a balloon from the neighbors or something, It circled around the pine tree, then headed up to the deck where we were. We were just laying in the sun and then stopped right over the deck railing. And she watched it change shape, and then that's when she knew it wasn't a balloon.
All right.
She saw it changing shape. She screamed. I was laying down with my with my eyes closed, and I turned her, and she pointed, and I finally turned her. I'm like, oh my God. So I grabbed my cell phone, and as the moment, I got it on. It takes a little while in the sun. You can't see your screen very well. I made sure my video camera was rolling. As I swung my arm to film it, because I'm 6 feet from it, it shot to the clouds. Bam, just like that. It went across. It was very tiny on my cell phone. It was just the tiniest dot. I went in the garage to see if I got it because it was dark in my garage. I did. And then we both walked back out to the deck, and another one shot out of the lake. We live on a lake, Preston. Came out of the water and shot straight to the clouds. And this time it was pill-shaped.
All right.
Wasn't
So what
that
date?
big.
When was this?
I don't even know the year off the top of my head.
Approximately.
It was probably 2015, I believe.
All right.
I can go back and look at the
Well, see, this is what I want.
And I can actually send you the original footage. You can see all the metadata on it. But it was taken from my cell, and it is just a tiny dot. It's bouncing all over. We had to stabilize it, and we blew it up 500% and slowed it down at various speeds. I did a lot of, photo analysis. I can just tell you, it could be a government thing. It could be whatever, but I can certainly tell you it's not fake. Only because I saw it very close up, saw the texture on it, saw it changing shape. I saw it go to a sharp diamond, to a circle.
They can do that.
Yeah, it was. I just got the feeling it was alive, that it was not, that it was kind of a biological thing. I don't know, I don't know, but I got that feeling because Yvette said when she reared back, when she finally realized it was not just some balloon, she reared back and she said that thing reared back too. She kind of mimicked her emotions.
Yeah. Well, this is exactly why I'd like to have the eyewitness testimony backing up the footage.
Yeah, no,
because
of course.
With your testimony and knowing you, that lends a huge amount of legitimacy to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not making any money off it. I could care less. I've given it away. I don't want anything for it. Just you know.
I mean, if it comes up out of the water, we know this is not a balloon.
Well, the other thing is we do have footage, and so it didn't really care that much because it's not like it's got like some weird antennas on it or anything. But the other one I filmed too after it shot up. I did get footage of that one too.
Oh wow.
But it's fine, it's a little dot, blah, blah, blah. And so that's my story.
Well, wait. Your story doesn't end there. Tell them about the biological effects on your tree.
Well, not from that. That wasn't from this thing. That was from those other orbs, those white, black, sparkly ones so there was another instance. That's the one that made my phone die forever. Turned my phone into a brick. But yes, it caused a tree that all these orbs were circling around. It shot up literally the next day, Preston. There were 2 sticks shooting out of a maple tree, straight up about 12 feet high, straight like bamboo rods with one leaf on top. Strangest thing I've ever seen. We actually had to hire a tree. This was a perfectly round maple tree. This is the things that burned out all my low voltage stuff in my home.
So these were branches that were attached to the tree?
To the tree, yes. And they shot up straight up. Straight up. First guy, it was weird because the first person I sent a picture to, because I was chatting with David Race. I got up in the morning and we have kind of like a bridge that goes in front of these big windows that overlooks that tree. And I see these 2 straight sticks sticking up. And I went, what the freak? I was like, what the? I'd never seen anything like that in a tree in my life. And this was kind of near September. Trees don't grow in September. Certainly they don't shoot up 10 feet in one day. Wow. It's possible it was 2, but it wasn't more than 2 days. And I thought, well, should I call MUFON and and have them invade my life and, blah, blah, blah. And the neighbors wonder what the hell's going on, with a bunch of, guys taking notes and running around, because, I live really close to people, so.
Well, I can say that there are cases where UFOs have caused accelerated growth in plants.
There have been?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Quite a few.
Well, I can say it completely burned my phone. I've never heard this. I never heard that saying before, but heard it from 2 texts. They said, your phone's a brick. It doesn't even conduct electricity anymore. None of it.
Huh.
Completely just a brick. So, and that was like, I can't count them because there were so many of them, but it was like a cloud of orbs that would disappear, reappear. Then they would turn white, then they would turn black, they would sparkle. And I was filming them from, 50 feet away, Preston. And I'm thinking, oh man, this is cool. I'm getting the best footage and probably I've ever seen of these little orbs. And they were round, maybe the size of small throwing balls that you'd play like bombardment with. They weren't that big, maybe 7 inches across, but they were round. All of them were round.
Right.
And when they go to one direction, they would all disappear. First thing I thought was like an ocean of birds, like white birds, because they were acting biological. They'd all kind of, grouped together and do this. And then as soon as once again, As soon as I told Yvette, we do have footage. I'd be happy to send it to you. Put it in a Google Drive for you. Yvette, I finally said, Yvette, how come you're not filming? So she grabbed her camera and started filming, but they're already starting to move away now from our house. They're over the neighbor's roof now. Wow. And all we wanted to do was go bass fishing, come home, and throw some steaks on the grill. I didn't expect all this. We ended up waiting at a Sprint store for hours. I had to buy a new phone. It's kind of a nightmare. Cost me a lot of money. So there you go.
Greg's got a question for you there.
Oh, Greg Olson. Doug, did you watch the whole time from the yard to the sky? Well, yeah, of course. I never, you're kind of distracted when you're operating a phone. But I never took my eyes off these things. It was insanity. They were swarming through our trees, on our lawn, the roof. Just swirling around my maple tree. They were just going everywhere. It's really weird. Was
that the residue on your vehicle?
No, that was another day.
That was another time.
There was another time. No. It was that night. That very night. So this story gets weirder. So we're in the garage. We come home. We're exhausted from running around with these techs. We come home. We're watching TV. And we're watching at my garage because I got a big TV in my desk in the garage. And all of a sudden, I see yellow lights blinking on the wall, flashing on the wall. And we have like opaque windows, right? You can't see through them. And I go, why is there a tow truck in our driveway? And when I said that, the cats, either right before or after, started screaming and like they were killing each other, Preston. Never, ever heard these cats. They're always, they're a little noisy at times, but never do they fight. And they sounded like they were being murdered. We raced down to the basement where they were, and the cats were just staring at us, just looking at us. So we thought, everything's okay. Maybe they got in a scuffle. Then we go in the garage. Then the yellow lights start blinking on the wall. Then she goes, open the garage door and see why is there a tow truck in the driveway? So I open the garage door. There's nothing there. So we close the garage door. Then we hear a whistling sound, like in the Roadrunner cartoons, this dropping, like a bomb dropping sound, Preston. And then we hear a big thump on the roof. Then we were running on the roof. You can imagine how our nerves are shot at this time. So we were running across the garage roof. And she's like, you need to go out there and inspect the house. It's not like it broke through the roof, like into the attic. And I said, I'm not going out there. Are you nuts? I'm not going outside.
Oh, I'll go.
Well, you may have. I did not have the courage to go outside at that time. So then wait till morning, we barely sleep that night. The morning I get up, sunny day, there is stuff all over my car that was parked out there. It looks like something had eaten a ton of sawdust and then vomited, digested it partially, and then vomited all over my car. It was even in the driveway. It was shot into my grill, horizontally into the grill. The so-called vomit, right? And it's like, you got to understand, my car is spotless. And it was parked a foot away from my garage door. From the front grill of this, it was a Ford Flex. And it was shot into the grill. So how could something shoot into the grill when my grill is a foot away from the driveway? None of it made sense. So I get a new popsicle stick, and a baggie. And I start scraping this stuff because I want to know what it is. It's not like anything I've ever seen. And it's not even sticking to the paint at all. Like, it leaves no residue. It's not sticky. It just completely comes off. But it's all over my hood, my grill, big splots of it. And, I look at the roof. There's nothing on the roof. Everything's cool. I called Joe at work, Uncle Joe. Said, Joe, you got to get over here and pick this up. And I called Alan Sibuzar at AW Research Lab. And I told Alan the whole story, from the orb swirling around the house in the afternoon to the lights, to the cats, everything. and said, this stuff's all over my car. He said, well, send it to me. And he had the gas chromatograph stuff to analyze it because he did a lot of like lake water samples for pollution and stuff. He said, I'll figure out what it is. So Joe gets here, and where I put that baggie, and then, in the meantime, I went and washed my car because it was like ugly embarrassing. It looked like some guy was drinking beer all night, eating pizza, and then vomited all over my car. So I went and washed it because I got a baggie of this stuff. Joe gets over here and he goes, where's this stuff? I said, it's right on AJ's ATV running board. I had it set right there. It's not there. We searched the garage for hours and hours for that bag. Never found it. That's my story. It's bizarre.
Huh. Was there anybody that could have taken the bag? I mean,
nobody was in our garage, not that I'm aware of. At that one, it bothers me to this day. And very shortly after that phone call to Alan died literally on the sidewalk coming out of the gym. So I don't know. And Alan was one of my best friends, amazing scientist, I did a lot of projects with. So that's it. Then people go, yeah, right. Yeah, sure, you lost this stuff. Well, I did. I didn't lose it. I put it carefully away from my desk, so I didn't know what it was.
What a shame. Yeah, it
really is. And my garage, by the way, was spotless. I mean, vinyl floor, clean mop.
Was this just on the car or the surrounding area at all?
There was some in the driveway.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can leave in a second and send some photos to Alex if people want to see the final part of that story. I can send you some, or Alex can post them up and I can get you these photos. I took quite a few photos of my flex.
Yeah, with that, we should probably wrap things up.
Oh, yeah, it's not. Oh, my God, time goes quick.
Preston, you are a prolific man. The amount of research.
How in the world?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't get to watch as much TV as I would like. I can tell you that.
No. And what's your latest book?
The latest book is Symmetry, True UFO Adventure. You can see that on the lower right.
Right here.
And also Not From Here, Volume 4. Both will have sequels. I'm working on
Congratulations.
Volume 5 of that. Another book on humanoids. So yeah, I'm busy, as you can see.
And what is the best place for people to find you if they want more information? Is it your website?
Yeah, just punching my name on the internet. I'm all over social media, so I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I have a YouTube channel where I'm putting on my research for those who don't have the time to read books. But yeah, I'm definitely easy to reach. Books can be bought on Amazon as well and other online retailers.
Well, thanks again for coming on. It was an incredible conversation. We'll have to have you on again.
Should I go get those photos and email them to you real quick?
Yeah.
You know right where they are of the Ford flags.
Yeah, where would you like me to post them?
Well, on the end of the show. Be one more minute. You want to do it?
Yeah, if you want to go grab them.
Are you interested in seeing the photos, Preston?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Because that does sound like a genuinely unexplained event.
It's quite a series of events. Yes.
Yeah. ET related.
And people think, well, this happens to me all the time. No, it doesn't. Thank God. You know, it's been years and years and years.
Given that there was a really big event the next day where your close friend passes away, that could be.
No, he didn't pass away the next day. It was very shortly after that, though, that Alan died. And it was just sad because he was, he's one of my best friends. But hang on, everybody. You can, Adam, you got some questions. I'll be right back.
Sure.
All right, hold on.
So I'm really interested. I want to hear more about Dolly's story. What else have they told her that would be interesting for us?
That's great. That's a great question.
Oh gosh. Well, I do cover it all in the book Symmetry. She woke up to her experiences at around age 14, had been having missing time, but basically she got so sick of it that the next time they came, she was ready, and they did. This was in 1973, and a UFO dropped down behind her house. She saw the little guys looking out through the window, and she's like, okay, I'm going to remember this. She didn't. She had missing time, woke up in the morning wearing someone else's pajamas, and found out that there were other witnesses, police officers. So she recalled it by just meditating, and remembered being taken on board, and she was introduced to her main contact, a tall gray, who she calls Mama, as well as little smaller grays. The ship itself was called Talata, and she got to have a big, long, involved encounter where they took her basically to Saturn and showed her the rings.
Okay.
Which, when she told me that, I'm like, wow, because this is what Jay Gardner told me. You know, there's other cases like this.
Yeah.
But long story short, they asked her, would you like to work with us? And she said, yes. And they asked her, what would you like to do? And gave her all these opportunities. And she says, well, actually, I'd like to learn how to fly the craft. Not thinking in a million years that they'd say, sure. But they did. So she spent the next 4 or 5 years being pulled on board twice, 3 times a week for hours at a time, being trained. They trained her neurologically, physically, emotionally, mentally, but most importantly, psychically, because that's how these craft are driven. Their technology is largely psychically based. So this is why our own governments will never be able to reverse engineer these craft, because they are just not there.
Gotcha. Does she have any residual effects from the psychic training? Can she do anything special?
Oh, yeah. And this is what we see with a lot of contactees. From at a very young age, she was physically levitating repeatedly, physically. And this was seen by her whole family over and over and over again. And that went up all the way through her teenage years, up until around age 19 was the last major event. But still little spontaneous events, lots of psychokinetic activity, which I've personally witnessed, but healing abilities for sure, mediumistic abilities, she's also proven that to me. So all kinds of stuff along those lines. She's still telepathically in contact with them.
And you said they're not from our universe? This is a multiverse thing?
No, they are from our universe. Okay. Absolutely. They have the ability to transcend to higher dimensions.
So is this more of a dimensional thing than...
No, entirely physical. She's missing from her house. They can't take her and put her back 2-3 minutes later, or really within the minute. So she's not missed. But that doesn't always happen. I mean, as a little girl, she was missing for 2-3 hours, and they found her 7 miles away at the local convenience store, which I think in some ways was a way to make sure that that she knew that this was physical. But yeah, no, it's 100% physical. She has an implant. I've seen the evidence of that as well. She's been healed by them. That, again, that's one of the main reasons people are taken on board. It's all about healing. So the fear narrative that's being put forth is just not true. It can be very scary for people, but they're not here to hurt us.
I sent him in Messenger, Alex. Sorry.
Yeah, I got him.
So you can see it looks like cellulose, sawdust. So you can see how it's gone into the grill. That's the grill, right? But the car was parked a foot away from the garage door. But you go ahead and go to another one.
Yeah, because my question was, could this possibly have been angel hair, which is a substance that's released from UFOs?
Yeah, I've heard about that stuff, but no, not this one.
Not have that appearance.
Well, we'll get to that one in a second. Not that. There we go. This stuff.
Okay. Can't say I've seen anything quite like that.
Yeah, it was splattered all over my car, and like once again, fine, okay, you get it all over your hood and so on, but how do you get it forward into the grill of the car when it's only a foot away from a wall? Go ahead, Alex, throw another one up.
Well, this does look more like the angel hair reports.
Oh, really? You see this
stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I'm looking for. See that strand going down that looks like angel hair to me. And we know what that is.
What is it?
This is a substance that's formed as a result of the plasma fields surrounding these craft, which are very high energy. And they are basically a condensation of some of the elements within our own atmosphere, the pollution. And it has been analyzed. And I bet you if this was analyzed, it would show things like boron and, gosh, I can't remember all the magnesium. Don't quote me on that one, but definitely boron and other substances.
Well, yeah, well, like Greg is saying, Big Bird. Yeah, well, you could say that, but the stuff that's shot into the grill. I mean, we're talking patches that were 8 inches wide, just shot way into the engine. But remember, the car is parked 1 foot from the front of the garage. So, is there any more pictures?
That was it. There's
okay, now can you blow the red circle up? Keep going. We can keep blowing it up. Blow.
Okay.
These
something there, yeah.
Can you blow that up more? Is that it, Alex?
That's as big as I can get it.
Oh, okay. Only 200%. Okay. So I took a bunch of still cases. This is from a vet's phone, not my phone. I was 50 feet from these things. They were already just taken off when she started photographing them. But there were literally hundreds of these things. Very interesting. That's the same day. Yep.
Wow.
That was actually, I grabbed the wrong still, but that's okay. You get the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds like they were trying to make sure you notice them if they're thumping on the roof.
Yeah, what was that all about? I mean, what? In other words, were the events even connected?
Dolly said something earlier in the comments about you being scanned, I think. If you look in the comments there.
Oh, yeah, I'll have to.
Well, it's pretty rare for a person to have, multiple sightings. And when they do, that's a red flag, Doug. That means they're interested in you.
Yep.
That's good to know. I got to take garbage out soon.
No, it's a good thing. It's absolutely a good thing. There's other red flags. The fact that you're doing a show like this.
yeah. And I did Monster Quest and, and blah, blah, blah. And I've done, Monster Quest. We covered UFOs occasionally. And yeah, those signals are going out into the universe, aren't they? All those television signals.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, they watch over all of us. There's no doubt about that.
Yep. And don't those signals, radio waves, just keep going forever?
Yep. Yeah, well, they do degrade to a certain extent, but it's more than that. I mean, we give off mental telepathy, and they are absolutely aware of that as well.
All right. Well, thank you.
They're aware of my research. I got firsthand knowledge of that.
Well, would you come back? Maybe bring Dolly with you.
Yeah, I will have to ask her, but I think she would probably say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you let me know, and we'll arrange a time, maybe in September. But I'd love to get it arranged now. Yeah, it'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam, for joining us. Thank you
Adam.
always, Alex, for all the hard work and everything you do, and some of your humor. Anyhow, we love everybody, and good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.
I call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on. We head on down the road until we get bored. Just you and me and the sun and the wind. If the rain should start us apart in the wait. At the end of the world, together forever as one, and I'll wait if ever you should be